I start by building Chase. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyright or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 51. The Garca Kingdom is sending heads to the team. The eyes of the world are still on the Kingdom of Garca. Lung Yu regained his confidence and shouted in order to bring hope to the people. Don't panic, it's just a monster, nothing to worry about. Now I will mobilize our motorcycle mobile unit to destroy the monster. Global audience. Old man Lunamo, haven't performed enough yet, right? When he said this, the people of Garca became excited. Many people hope that their country can destroy monsters, instead of relying on other countries. This side. Wangxian Empire. In the base, Li Chen gave Lin Chen a training data of caring for the new students. He flicked through it and had to say that these students had made great progress. Training like before was not so effective for them. So, a decision was made to let them start trying Mechas and let them understand the structure of Mechas. Lin Chen waved his hand and asked them to stop training, saying, "You have performed very well recently. You can train Mechas in a few days." What? The 60 students were shocked and stunned. So fast? Does it prove that it won't be long before you can fly into the sky like Lin Chen in a mecha, and show off all kinds of monsters? That's all for today, let's go back to the base and have a rest. Lin Chen waved his hand. A group of students left the training ground, talking and laughing, but Yi Chuan, the power of the pig farm, did not leave. Instead, he came up and watched the live broadcast of the Garca Kingdom with Lin Chen. "Professor, the Garca Kingdom. Are you asking about the monsters?" Lin Chen said. "Yes. Their country is finished." Lin Chen pointed at the screen. Densely packed small monsters were circling in the sky, and every dive would take away several or even dozens of lives. Needless to say, large monsters were simply a crusher, and the light feathers emitted from their wings became the nightmare of the Garca warriors. I'm afraid that even if the Garca Kingdom mobilized enough troops, their capital might be. Fortunately, these monsters did not appear in our Wang's Empire, otherwise Professor Lin could show off all these monsters to death. Yi Chuan suddenly set his eyes on Lin Chen. In their minds, Lin Chen's driving skills are the best in ancient and modern times. As long as Lin Chen takes action, there is nothing that cannot be solved, whether it is driving a mecha or doing science. If one day Lin Chen goes to deliver a baby, Yi Chuan will choose to believe without hesitation. Lin Chen. Am I wrong? We saw it last time. Professor Lin fights monsters as easily as cutting melons and vegetables. Yi Chuan boasted again. Don't brag, wait and see whether the anxious Garca Kingdom will ask our empire or the Jianmeng Empire. Lin Chen was a little impatient. I think Garca Kingdom will eventually ask our Wangxian Empire. Yi Chuan spoke again. Li Xian, call a few people over and carry this chatterbox out for me. Lin Chen said. Then several burly warriors broke into the training ground. In order not to hinder Lin Chen from continuing to watch the live broadcast, they carried Yi Chuan out of the training ground without hesitation. On the side of Garca country, the monster has entered the suburbs of Kate City, razing everything it passed. Countless Garca people were buried in the ruins because they chose to believe Yun Gamo's words. This is a disaster. A legion of the Garca Kingdom cannot resist the monster at all. There is no doubt that if the monster is not stopped successfully, it will enter the capital of Garca Kingdom at noon tomorrow. Once the monster enters the capital, Garca Kingdom will be completely finished, and the people will always live under the shadow of monster attacks. Faced with such a crisis, the legendary army of Garca Kingdom moved very quickly. Troops from several cities began to gather in one direction, and each motorcycle was equipped with calm Garca warriors, as if they didn't take the monster to heart at all. Countless motorcycle mobile forces gathered together and headed towards Kate City. The road was full of the sound of motorcycles blasting the streets. This is the real steel torrent, with thousands of motorcycles densely packed. Countless people of Garca are no longer afraid. Is our motorcycle mobile unit finally going to join the war? Invincible, invincible. Thank you Garca for having such a strong unit to protect us. I heard that the motorcycle mobile unit has unique skills. Yes, this unit is very legendary. Friends around the world may not know our culture, but they generally know this invincible motorcycle mobile unit. The cheers of Garca rang out again. However, at this time, almost all the audiences around the world could not bear to watch it. Just the juggling unit, are you sure it's not going to deliver food? If it is a ragtag unit, it may take some time for the monster to trample them all to death. After all, it is too scattered, but a motorcycle that can carry 20 warriors soon. The motorcycle mobile unit entered the city of Kage, ready to hit the monster. The large monster looked at the small insects that suddenly appeared densely on the ground, and was frightened and stepped back several steps at first. What is this? This scene greatly boosted the momentum of the motorcycle mobile unit. Open fire. Following the order from the commander, the soldiers stood on the motorcycles and fired at the monster. For a moment, smoke and dust filled the giant monster, and even the buildings around the monster were blown down. After a long time, the fire ceased. It seemed that the giant monster was dead, and everything was calm. At this moment, the country of Garka was boiling. We won. The glory of Garka. The people of Garka were cheering. What 5 empires were all shipped, paper tigers. Once the motorcycle mobile force came out, gods would kill gods, and Buddhas would kill Buddhas. Lungama smiled slightly. This was destined to be recorded in the epic deeds. At this moment, the smoke and dust dissipated, and the monster was completely the same as before, without the scars that people imagined. Yin. A roar. The monster was angry, and it was calling its companions. For a moment, small monsters in the distance circled over this area. The atmosphere of terror was about to explode. The large monsters closed their wings, countless blue energy substances gathered, and the wings flapped out. Dense blue light feathers fell like raindrops on the motorcycle mobile unit. After several Gaga warriors on motorcycles were pierced by the light feathers and screamed miserably. Small monsters also began to attack, and often a Dave could kill all the warriors on a motorcycle. Afterwards, the large monsters could almost kill a large number of them with one foot, and even meet dozens of Gaga warriors in one bite. The monsters never thought that the originally scattered small reptiles would gather together, as if they were seeking collective death. You can only do as you wish. The monsters were eviling, and the Gaga warriors were screaming. The blood dyed the nearby streets red. The global audience was stunned. Their eyes were wide open. I thought the aggressive motorcycle mobile unit would have such an impressive record, but now they are actually teaming up to give the monsters heads. Report. Chapter 52. It turns out that showing off comes at a price. This is a collective suicide. Damn, 60 Garka warriors were chopped to death by the monster. At this moment, the global audience was shocked. They were indeed calm Garka warriors. They were awesome. The people of Garka country cried and held their heads. This blow was too great. They wailed, impossible, fake, it must be fake, the motorcycle mobile force is invincible. Their mentality exploded and collapsed. In the previous second, thousands of motorcycles carrying countless calm warriors marched towards Kate City. In the next second, they were all panicked. If they ran a little slower, they would be trampled to death by the monster. The dream of the rise of Garka country finally fell. Countless Garka people began to question Garka country. The old guy Lungama said that our war fortress was the strongest mecha in history, but it was killed by the monster in seconds. The old guy Lungama also said that our motorcycle mobile force could destroy the monster, but it turned out that they formed a team to send people to their deaths. Then the entire Garka kingdom instantly changed from an extremely arrogant attitude to an extremely humble one, realizing that it was all the old man Lungama who was pretending to be cool. Lungama's face turned pale all of a sudden. The two prides of Garka kingdom were gone. What else could he use to fight monsters? Quick, go and ask the Jianmeng Empire for military support for us. Lungama hurriedly shouted to the Minister of Internal Affairs. Sorry, now we have completely lost contact with the Jianmeng Empire. Lungama was speechless and couldn't help thinking. If the Jianmeng Empire can't be contacted, should we ask the Wangzhi Empire for help? Such a shameful thing. Anyway, he would not do it. Mobilize all our Garka warriors to Kate City to destroy the monsters. Lungama almost gritted his teeth and spoke. It turns out that pretending to be cool has a price. Our Garka kingdom's war fortress and motorcycle mobile force are gone. Do you still want to be willful? The Minister of Foreign Affairs said mercilessly. Go and ask the Wangzhi Empire. Lungama gritted his teeth. This side. Wangzhi Empire, GJ City Base. A video call from the command office suddenly appeared in front of Lin Chen. He answered. Hello Lin Chen, the Empire just received a military request from the Kingdom of Garka, and we would like to ask for your opinion. The command office was helpless. The command office almost agreed to this opportunity to show the country's prestige, but then found out that they had no right to mobilize this base at all, because they could find 10,000 reasons to refuse, and he was very close to the princess. "So you mean to let me go?" Lin Chen asked. "It's not you who should go, but other pilots," the command office replied. "Sorry, they can't fly yet." The command office was collectively depressed. Could it be the scientists are going to fight monsters again? "I can go, but I have some conditions. As long as the kingdom of Garka agrees, I will go to destroy the monsters." Lin Chen thought about it. This is an opportunity with many benefits. It's time for the students to witness the tragedy of the Mecha with their own eyes. By the way, the whole world can see the power of the Mecha, so that the whole world will rely on the base, and they can also make some demands to the Garka country. The command office was stunned. There are not many opportunities to show the country's prestige. Lin Chen actually wants conditions. The conditions are as follows: monster corpses, various minerals, gold, silver, copper, iron, aluminum, wood, natural gas, etc. As for the money of the Garka country, there is no mention of a word. The command office quickly sent these conditions to the Garka country. Garka country. Impossible, the shameless Wang's Empire is taking advantage of the situation. We think highly of Wang's Empire by asking them to help us. How dare they negotiate with us? Lungama was furious when he saw the excessive conditions proposed by Wang's Empire. He roared in exasperation. "I don't believe that the brave Garka warriors can't destroy the monsters." Several elders of Garka Kingdom entered the Emperor's palace with gloomy faces and scolded Lungamo. "What else do you want? You feel good to pretend once, but look at how heavy a price Garka Kingdom paid." Lungamo was speechless. The elder said to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, "The conditions proposed by Wang's Empire are a bit harsh. Ask them if high-quality cow urine can offset part of the supplies." The Minister of Foreign Affairs contacted the command office of Wang's Empire. After a few words, he said to the elder with a very ugly face, "Wang's Empire said you were dreaming." Garka Kingdom elders meeting. It took nearly an hour to end the negotiation. Both sides refused to give in, but seeing the monsters coming all the way to the capital of Garka, Garka finally agreed to the scary conditions with a spit of blood. Gold and silver are measured in tons, wood in millions of tons, and heavy metals in tens of millions of tons. However, Garka also has a requirement that the conditions cannot be disclosed to the outside world, so that the people of Garka will not feel any shame. Soon, the news that the Wang's Empire will provide military assistance to Garka spread throughout Garka. The people of Garka cheered. "The Wang's Empire is here to save us. We used to be their vassal state. This is the true imperial demeanor. This is a friendship in need. Long life friendship. My daughter must marry a Wang's man in the future. Only the men of the Wang's Empire are real men. They are strong and are real knights." This news made countless people in Garka grateful. Although they have always been unhappy with this powerful neighbor, now they have not asked for any conditions and help for free. The people of Garka realized that they had wrongly blamed the Wang's Empire. At this time, Pussy, who was watching the live broadcast, couldn't bear it anymore. He felt sour and couldn't help but sneer. "Fuck, how can the Garka people be so stupid that they actually think it's free help? You are all dreaming. The Wang's Empire has already started to prepare. The 15th Army marched towards the Garka country in a mighty manner, ready to receive supplies. At the same time, an extra-large hovering transport plane slowly landed on the runway outside the base. All students board the plane. You will witness the battle between Mechas and monsters with your own eyes. I hope you can be mentally prepared for the future." Lin Chen waved his hand. 3 rows of students began to board the plane nervously, followed by a group of scientific researchers and reporters. The flight deck at the back was carrying the Jinlong and was also transported to the plane. The savior of the Garka country began to take off. At this moment, the world was boiling and talking about it. In front, there was all kinds of pretense by the old immortal Lunamo, which caused the war fortress converted from a tank and the motorcycle mobile unit to not show off to the monsters, but were instead beaten by the monsters. Can the Mecha of Wang's Empire do it? It should, it seems. Maybe, it's okay. After all, people have seen the power of the Mecha of Wang's Empire before. Although it is small, its mobility and operation ability completely subvert everyone's cognition. The last battle was at night, and the picture was blurry, but it's different now. This is a daytime battle. Audiences around the world are looking forward to the next epic battle blockbuster. Because it will be Mecha versus Monster soon. Chapter 53 Supporters Coming. It is estimated that it will take 6 hours to fly from the Wang's Empire to Kate City in the Garka Kingdom, after which the Mecha will be dropped over Kate City. During the flight, Kate City has been completely in chaos. Robbery, smashing, and forcibly entering houses to look for women have happened repeatedly, and there is no water at all. The Garka warriors are stubbornly venting their fire on the monsters, the Garka refugees are rushing out of the city frantically, and the Garka bandits are daring and doing all kinds of evil. They turn into beasts when they see beautiful women and murderers when they see rich people. Some people even start to attack the Garka warriors. The flames of war are ignited, the smoke is spreading, and the atrocities are spreading. This has become a crazy and decadent city. Monsters are still destroying the city unscrupulously. There is no power to resist the monsters from other dimensions. The huge bodies of large monsters destroy buildings almost every step they take, and small monsters are like falcons hovering in the sky, constantly preying on small reptiles on the ground. The monsters pushed forward all the way. When the people of Garka heard the huge noise, they were like encountering an unimaginable nightmare, and they hurriedly wailed and fled. Monsters are like the harvesters of life, and lives are dying in this disaster all the time. People fled while crying and cursing. Woo! My wife and a group of gangsters died under the feet of monsters. Buddha, please bring down your anger to destroy these monsters. Damn old Lungamo, his mind must be full of shit. I will never believe Lungamo's words again, he only cares about pretending to be cool and ignores the people. Why hasn't the military support from the Wang's Empire arrived yet? If it doesn't come, I will die. Wang's Empire, come and avenge me, because of the monster, I saw my wife with my own eyes. The people of Garka were like little ants, scrambling to escape under the feet of the monsters, with negative expressions such as self-blame and pain on their faces. Immediately afterwards, a huge shadow appeared, and in addition to a huge deep pit on the ground, there were pools of blood. Any escape and shouting are futile for the monsters. Even if you escape the destruction of the large monsters, there are still small monsters behind you that are always hunting the little bugs. The monsters are rampant all the way. It seems that most of Kate City is about to be destroyed. Yin. The monster roared, it will only be more brutal, more like a giant killing weapon. The monsters are wantonly destroying the entire Kate City. A group of gangsters are chasing a certain Garka girl, ready to enjoy the next exhilarating pleasure. Suddenly a huge shadow appears, and the area is quiet. A group of robbers smashed a roadside shop, and the small monster swooped down at a very fast speed, bringing up a cloud of dust, and the shop turned into ruins. This happens repeatedly. There are no innocent souls under the ravages of the monsters. Lungamo, who was in the capital of Garka, looked at Kate City with a telescope and could already see the outline of the monster's body. It is very strong and terrifying, with a strong visual impact, especially the purple-red skin, which makes people feel numb and weak in the legs. Goodbye to the once prosperous Kate City. Well, there are only a few intact buildings, and there are also dark masses of suspected Garka people fleeing in all directions. Lungamo was very distressed. It was very enjoyable for him to pretend to be cool today, but this pretending was too worthless. When will the aid from the Wang's Empire arrive? Lungamo's voice began to tremble. It seems to be about 3 hours. The Minister of the Interior said. Let them hurry up, our Garka country can pay them a higher price, as long as we can't let the monster enter our capital. Lungamo originally wanted to do some small tricks, but thinking that the monster was not far from the capital, if he did a small trick at this time and was discovered by the Wang's Empire, they could just pack their butts and leave. But what about the monster in Garka? After a long time, more than 2 hours later, a large transport plane entered the airspace of Garka. At this time, everyone in the country of Garka knew that it was the plane of the Wang's Empire, which was loaded with small but powerful Mechas. They finally came. Because the Wang's Empire easily destroyed the monster last time, the people of Garka, who were sick and trying all kinds of methods, had almost no doubts. They all believed that the Wang's Empire would definitely destroy the monster and avenge the people of Kate City. The people of Garka waited anxiously and kept passing on the news to various places. It's come in, I saw a super large transport plane of the Wang's Empire. Hurry up and raise the flag of the Wang's Empire to welcome them. It's almost to Magzia. Hiss, this is so fast. So amazing. Soon, every city where the transport plane passed by raised a red flag with a golden dragon. This is the flag of the Wang's Empire. As if it was guiding, at a glance, the endless national flag extended to the capital of Garka. On the plane, Lin Chen looked down calmly. Lin Chen, I think you'd better not take this risk. If you have any accident, the base won't be able to build Mechas. Sun Yue, the base's supervisor, said. You underestimate my driving skills. Let me tell you, I'm unrivaled in the field of driving Mechas. Lin Chen's expression was calm and he didn't feel nervous at all. On the contrary, the trainees were very nervous, as if the next battle was for them to participate in. But, no buts, have you forgotten who has the final say in the base? Lin Chen said as he began to change his uniform. The plane was about to arrive in the airspace of Kate City. The noise from the sky was approaching the capital of Garka. At the time, the people of Garka could even see a small black dot gradually turning into a large transport plane without a telescope. Support is finally here. If it weren't for my series of measures, our Garka might have been ravaged by monsters now. Lun Gum held the telescope and breathed a sigh of relief, and bragged to the Minister of Internal and External Affairs and the Council of Elders behind him. The two Ministers of Internal and External Affairs and the Council of Elders. Everyone was immediately defeated by Lunamo, and it was as if a group of grass mud horses were galloping through their hearts. If it weren't for this old man Lunamo pretending to be cool in front of the world, how could the country of Garka have paid such a heavy price? Now he is pretending to be cool again. Here it comes, here it comes. At this time, the people of Garka have gathered into a sea of red and cheered loudly. It is really that Lunamo has dealt them too much of a blow. In such a desperate situation, any strong support is hope for the people of Garka. As soon as the transport plane left the capital of Garka, looking at the small monsters circling in the sky, the captain of the plane immediately reported through the headset. Report, our transport plane cannot reach the sky above Kate City, should we drop it now? You will learn from this. Lin Chen did not forget to warn the students, and then took a deep breath and replied, you can drop it. The rear door of the transport plane slowly opened. Swoosh Jinlong jumped out of the rear door of the transport plane and flew towards Kate City with a blue tail flame. Cool to explode. Chapter 54a. Crushing Battle. At this moment, the world is watching the Jinlong as it emerges from the transport plane. This is the second battle of the Jinlong. As a mecha that represents the highest technology of mankind, the Jinlong is undoubtedly the No. 1-inch combat. It has truly eliminated monsters with its own strength. Unlike the Jianmeng Empire and the Western Kingdom, they completely killed the monsters bit by bit. At this time, the people of the Wangxi Empire are the most worried. Is it Lin Chen again? Why does he, a scientist, like to come and fight in a mecha instead of studying strange things in the back? Is it really so cool to drive a mecha to fight monsters that people can't stop? Since the appearance of the Tianlong, the audience around the world has become lively, and some even dragged their friends and relatives to watch it together. It feels like watching a blockbuster movie. Haha, our Jianmeng Empire also has Mechas, and our Mechas are 10,000 times more powerful than those of the Wangxi Empire. My wife is secretly licking the screen, what should I do? Should I lick my wife to the point of doubting her life? So cool, if I had such a mecha, I would hug it when I sleep, otherwise I would not sleep well. Then, when they saw that the Mechas of the Wangxi Empire were about to enter the ruined Kate City, the audience around the world stopped talking and stared at every picture. Swoosh Lin Chen drove that Jinlong at an astonishing speed to attack a small monster. Transformation. From fighter form to human form. The Jinlong has a sword made of super hard chromium in his left hand and a super large rifle in his right hand. In this scene, the Jinlong ignited the whole world. The Jinlong's super handsome appearance, under the afterglow of the setting sun, the white fuselage was dyed with dazzling golden brilliance. The global audience was blown away. It's so damn cool. Let's not talk about its practicality, even if it's just a showpiece, it can definitely get full marks. At this time, above the dilapidated Kate City, a small monster far away from the monster group stopped wreaking havoc. However, the next second, Jinlong raised his right arm and pulled the trigger with a rifle. Bang bang, the bullets comparable to artillery shells blew the small monster into a bloody mist. This is truly devastating. In the situation where humans are exhausted from dealing with monsters, only Mechas are the ultimate weapon of humans. The morale of several armed helicopters of the Gakka Kingdom in the distance was unprecedentedly high, and the ground troops cheered. Soon after, the Jinlong interpreted the meaning of the ultimate weapon to the fullest. When the small monsters hovering in the sky were slaughtered by Lin Chen alone in a very short time, the whole world was shocked, maybe, but more of it was unbelievable. Everyone had the same voice in their hearts. What a strong driving ability. After clearing out the small monsters, the transport plane of the Wangxi Empire dropped a rifle and flew away quickly. The Jinlong was replenished with ammunition, and then slowly approached the last monster, the large monster, in human form. It was the last monster at present, and it was also a more powerful monster than before. The new attack method overturned people's perception of monsters. The large monster also stopped ravaging the few buildings in Cave City, making it difficult for many refugees from the Mecha country to survive. It slightly raised its huge head and felt the threat of this big reptile. It was the addition of this reptile that wiped out all its kind. The real final battle is come in. This is a battle between humans driving Mechas and monsters. Jinlong versus monsters, who is stronger and who is weaker will soon be revealed to the world. At this time, the live broadcast of the Mecha country is still transmitting the live broadcast signal to the world, and countless nervous viewers are staring at the screen tightly, expecting the Mecha to knock down the monster. Pussy was also looking forward to it, hoping that the monster could quickly beat the Mecha of the Wang's Empire into scrap metal, paving the way for the terrifying killer of the Jianmeng Empire in the future. Go ahead. Lin Chen looked calm, looking at the monster 100 meters away in front. This battle can only be won, not lost. Swoosh bang bang, Jinlong took the lead in launching an attack, and bullets exploded on the monster's protective shield. In less than a moment, 5 energy shields were shattered. Yin. The monster roared. It flew up, and its wings gathered blue energy substances, and the sky full of light feathers hit the Jinlong. Yes, at this moment, the audience around the world took a breath of cold air. The horror of those light feathers has been verified in the motorcycle mobile unit. They have super strong penetrating ability and can also lock the enemy. The audience's hearts have been raised to their throats. Even if those light feathers are inserted one by one, they can also make countless holes in the Jinlong. However, when they saw the reaction of the Mecha of the Wang's Empire, they all breathed a sigh of relief. At some point, most of the audience's backs were wet, and they completely immersed themselves in the Mecha. After all, it was really cool. The Mecha quickly fled away in the form of a fighter, and first fired a cannonball-like shot at a distance, breaking more than half of the energy feathers. At this time, the global audience realized a very serious problem. Are all Mechas so powerful? Fuck, this is all possible. They are all cannonballs, why can't our army do it? The idiot upstairs has finished his appraisal. For popular science, the hit rate of heavy weapons used by humans is extremely low, but the hit rate of heavy weapons used by Mechas will be greatly improved, and the flexible mobility can easily maintain its own advantage. In addition, no matter how powerful the artillery fire on the ground is, it can't stop the monster's attack. Only fast movement is the most effective way. While the audience was discussing, Lin Chen had used the sword to shatter all the remaining feathers that were tracking him. Swoosh! Lin Chen accelerated the Jinlong suddenly. Before he hit the monster, he transformed into a humanoid at a very fast speed and used the firepower of his rifle to shoot at the monster's shield one by one. The monster kept circling, trying to bite the Jinlong, while the latter made full use of its mobility, fighting and retreating, constantly consuming the monster's energy shield. Bang bang bang, a series of explosions sounded, and Lin Chen rushed to the distance to distance himself from the monster and quickly turned back. Yin! The monster roared, opening its bloody mouth and flying towards the Jinlong. The Mecha and the monster were about to collide with each other. This was an extremely unfair battle. The Jinlong was only 1/10 the size of the monster. However, Lin Chen was not a fool. On the contrary, he was a monster with full intelligence points and driving expertise. Let's go. Lin Chen's eyes were dignified, and the monster in his sight was approaching at a very fast speed. At the critical moment, the Mecha and the monster were less than 5 meters apart, and the powerful thrust of the Jinlong caused the body to change direction and move upward. The Jinlong was above the monster's head, and the sword suddenly pierced its head. The audience around the world was shocked. Because it was dusk now, the vision was still clear, unlike the monster of the Wang's Empire which was blurry at night, so now they could see everything that happened more clearly. Holy shit! Is this even possible? Everyone screamed in disbelief. It was so horrifying. How on earth did this Mecha do it? How strong was the thrust to be able to change direction at such a high speed just now? Then, when they saw a huge hilt inserted into the monster's head, the audience around the world held their breath again. The monster should be dead now, right? Update the Little Prince online and ask for votes. Now the collection and recommendation votes of this book are seriously disproportionate. Thank you everyone. Chapter 55. The completely famous Mecha. A huge sword had pierced deeply into the head. If the monster was still alive, the audience around the world would not believe it. Pussy was so angry that he grabbed his hair and shouted, "Impossible, I don't believe it, I just don't believe that the monster will die." The Underground Research Institute of Jianmeng Empire was already silent, and began to doubt whether this global live broadcast was a live broadcast of a science fiction movie. What is the power source and how to operate it? I can't figure it out. It looks so awesome. Compared with the horror killer that was being urgently manufactured, it was not even worthy of carrying the shoes of the Mecha of Wangxin Empire. In terms of appearance, the horror killer was just a big spider, not cool at all, and it was ugly. The monster is not dead yet. Yin. It was angry and roared. Seeing this scene, the audience around the world began to be nervous. The huge sword had pierced into the head, but the monster's vitality was so tenacious, how could it be beaten? But Jinlong was faster, pulling out the sword and opening his right palm. Freezing bomb loaded. A freezing bomb with extremely strong destructive power shot into the wound on the monster's head. Although this freezing bomb is not big, if it is placed on the water surface, it is enough to freeze the water surface of hundreds of meters into thick ice. Destruction from the inside is always more effective than destruction from the outside. The freezing bomb began to exert its power at a depth of about 5 meters from the monster's head. The central nervous system, blood, etc., were all frozen into ice crystals that were colder than ice. The monster twisted its thick neck to look at the Tianlong, and then fell from the air, splashing a huge cloud of dust. Thick ice crystals spread from the inside to the outside of the monster's huge body, like a magnificent ice sculpture, shining brightly under the glory of the setting sun. This monster was also the last monster, completely quiet, and lost any breath. The culprit who destroyed the entire Kate city is really dead. The battle between the Mecha of the Wangxi Empire and this big guy took less than half an hour. At this moment, the audience around the world fell into a quiet atmosphere, not feeling the wet water stains on their bodies. Looking at the Mecha on the screen burning with the afterglow of the setting sun, they all swallowed their saliva. It was a man and a machine that turned the tide. Just like the plot of the anime, it is a true savior. It can be said that it saved the capital of the Gakka kingdom and countless Gakka people with its own strength. Then, the audience exploded and began to discuss. The monster died just like that. How did it die? How did the monster's body freeze? Its speed is amazing, faster than my right hand. The Mecha is strong, and the driver inside is even stronger. It must be the legendary king of operation. The female driver of 18 years is inferior to him. I really want to meet the driver inside and experience his unparalleled driving skills for one night. This is an extremely unfair battle. Although the Jinlong had an excellent record of killing a monster, the audience still never thought that the battle would be won so easily. And how he killed the monster and why the monster froze into ice is still a mystery. In any case, the global audience and various forces around the world have to re-examine the Mecha of the Wangxi Empire. It is small in size but has super mobility. The flexible body is like the driver's body. What kind of operation method is it? Is it the same as operating an excavator? That's too ridiculous. Many people began to be curious about the Mecha of the Wangxi Empire. Seeing the monster being killed, the most excited people were the people of Gakka, who were now in a frenzy of cheering that was more terrifying than religion. Thanks to the Wangxi Empire for finally avenging my wife. I saw with my own eyes that my wife was inhumanely screamed by a group of strong men, but I was powerless. If you could have come a minute earlier, no criminals would have entered my house and carried my wife away. She was saved, although I am the only one left alive in our family. If it weren't for the help of the Wangxi Empire, the monster would be a disaster for the Gakka kingdom. Thanks to the help of the Wangxi Empire, they are better than the vampires of the Jianmeng Empire. My daughter must marry a Wangxi man. They are real men. It is said that their bodies are very strong and can last longer than Gakka men. The people of Gakka were celebrating the killing of the monster. Thanks to the Wangxi Empire, the cheers on the streets were louder and louder. There were even many places that made pictures of the Jinlong and prepared to hang them high, as the savior of Gakka. In fact, Lin Chen was not simply to help Gakka. There are 3 purposes for this visit. 1. Let the students see the cruelty of the battle and improve their psychological quality. 2. Perhaps more resources, such as monster corpses, gold, silver, copper, iron, aluminum and other resources. 3. Become famous and earn fans. Things went very smoothly, and the monster had been destroyed, but he was slightly dissatisfied. The people of Gakka below seemed to be thanking the wrong thing. What was the matter with thanking the Wangxi Empire and the Tianlong? Shouldn't they thank the driver? The Council of Elders and the Minister of Internal and External Affairs also stood up happily. The monster was finally dead. Although the city of Cake was destroyed, compared with the Jianmeng Empire and the Kingdom of West Asia, it seemed that a city became a ruin, and this loss was nothing at all. Is that the end? I always feel that the Wangzi Empire is working without effort. Liu Ngamo felt that he was at a disadvantage. He once doubted whether this monster was a conspiracy of the Wangzi Empire. Why did the monster fight the Gurkha warriors like taking medicine, and they were so fierce that countless Gurkha warriors died in any attack? It was just that as soon as such a 3-story high small mecha appeared, those arrogant monsters were beaten and fled. What is the difference between the war fortress and the mecha of the Wangzi Empire? So angry. Netizens on the Wangzi Empire side are also proud of Lin Chen. He is the first time in the history of the empire to truly show its national prestige abroad. Seeing countless Kaka people shouting in the live broadcast, the self-esteem of the people of the Wangzi Empire has been unprecedentedly satisfied. People think that scientists should be as versatile as Lin Chen. Scientists who can't drive Mechas are not good scientists. If Lin Chen suddenly has a child one day, they will definitely believe it. Because there is nothing in this world that Lin Chen can't do. After this battle, the mecha became famous. What does it mean to kill monsters unscathed as the protagonist twice in a row? It represents the powerful strength of the mecha and the powerful driving ability of the driver. It means that the Wangzi Empire will gradually become the main force in the world in the future when resisting monsters. In the long run, I'm afraid that the whole world will form a kind of dependence on the Wangzi Empire. For example, given the current situation of the Gurkha Kingdom, if there is another monster attack that cannot be resisted, the first thing they will do is to ask for support from the Wangzi Empire. So some people are getting impatient. If the Wangzi Empire continues to be so powerful, how can other empires survive in the future? Brothers and sisters, the author is begging for help. This book dropped 3 rankings overnight and it is almost unavailable. Now the author is about to cry in the toilet. Chapter 56. Write me in your textbooks. The other empires all felt the pressure from the Wangzi Empire, and the source of the pressure was the current situation facing monsters and the appearance of Mechas. The center of the Jianmeng Empire fell into silence. This time they more intuitively realized the technology displayed by the Mechas of the Wangzi Empire. Whether it was the power source or the operating technology, these were the problems that the Jianmeng Empire dreamed of solving. It's not that the Jianmeng Empire doesn't have Mechas. Their terrorist killers are making them, but as long as the Mechas of the Wangzi Empire exist, would the terrorist killers have the nerve to show them? Pussy took a deep breath and ordered the Minister of Foreign Affairs, saying, "If Lin Chen is a talent of our Jianmeng Empire, this cool mecha will be ours. Go and collect all the information about Lin Chen immediately and win him over at all costs." At all costs? That's right. If he likes women, we will send him tall and beautiful women with blonde hair and blue eyes. If he likes money, we will send him gold and silver jewelry. Pussy rubbed his eyebrows and felt that he was really worried about the Jianmeng Empire. If it weren't for me, I'm afraid it won't be long before the great Jianmeng Empire may have to collectively tell the truth. The Minister of the Interior spoke at the right time, saying, "Recently, there have been many voices in the empire questioning our central government, and they have begun to doubt whether the empire has the ability to destroy monsters and protect the safety of the people of the empire. Fuck, it must be some idiots who are jealous that the Wangzi Empire can easily destroy monsters, but we can't." Pussy said. Yes, it was because of the appearance of the Wangzi Empire's mecha that the people of the Jianmeng Empire began to have bad voices. After all, they have good ones. Why doesn't the Jianmeng Empire, as the global hegemon, have it? In fact, even if we don't have Mechas, as long as we can easily destroy monsters, we can win back the confidence of the people. The Minister of the Interior spoke again. Easily destroy monsters? Everyone's eyes lit up. Recently, the Underground Research Institute has made new research progress on the corpses of monsters again, extracting liquid containing special mysterious energy from the monsters. It is this liquid that has a very terrifying destructive power. If this liquid is studied in the field of weapons, can it be, after all, this is something from the monster, and it must not be too difficult to use it to deal with monsters. In addition, the Wangzi Empire has developed too fast recently. I decided to increase the targeting of them, including increasing taxes, etc. And notifying major trading countries that we had the ability to protect the world and force countries to take sides in various fields to form a situation of isolating the Wangzi Empire. Pussy quickly made a major decision on the Wangzi Empire to prevent the Wangzi Empire from becoming the global hegemon in the future. After a while, the meeting ended, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs began to draft a copy to ensure the unshakable position of the Jinlei Empire. Compared with the conspiracy of the Jianming Empire, the Polar Empire also felt the threat from its neighbor, the Wangzi Empire, but it was relatively simple, and there were signs of secretly gathering the legion. At this time, in the country of Garka, Lin Chen, as the hero who saved the country of Garka, was accepting Lungamo's thanks. Hello. Hello. Lin Chen and Lungamo briefly introduced themselves. Then, Lungamo, the Minister of Internal and External Affairs, and the Council of Elders all took a breath of cold air. It turned out to be Lin Chen. It was the Mecha he invented. In an instant, a terrifying thought came to the mind of the center of the Garka Kingdom. Is it necessary for this person to go back? Isn't it better to stay in Garka Kingdom? At the time, he will not want to go back. He will be tempted to eat and drink well, and then choose beautiful women for him to enjoy. Over time, he will not go back. In this case, wouldn't Garka Kingdom have a Mecha? Lungamo's eyes lit up and smiled. I really didn't expect that the Wangzi Empire would send a great scientist. It is worthy at the imperial style. In fact, we wanted Professor Lin to join our Garka Kingdom to contribute to the world together. Let's talk about business. On behalf of the Wangzi Empire, I will now officially notify your country that according to the agreement, our people will come to receive various materials around the day after tomorrow. The body of the monster also belongs to us, please don't move it. Lin Chen didn't have the leisure to talk nonsense with this Lungamo king. Lungamo laughed dryly and said, let's not talk about the materials first. Professor Lin, look, these are all people from our Garka Kingdom. I wonder what Professor Lin thinks about experiencing the exotic customs. As long as Lin Chen can stay. Lungamo can arrange 10 beauties for Lin Chen tonight, no, 100, to make him happy and forget about home. Not interested. Lin Chen's expression was indifferent. In the Wangzi Empire, he has hundreds of millions of fans. Among these fans, are there no beauties? Just beckoning your fingers, you can sleep with your fans unscrupulously. Can the materials be lowered to a lower standard? There are too many. In addition, the time you take to eliminate the monsters is too fast. For our Garka country, I feel cheated. Lungamo was discouraged. Sure, as long as you can write my deeds today into your textbooks, I can decide to reduce the materials by half, absolutely no problem. Lin Chen said. Lungamo almost vomited blood. The textbooks of Garka country praise Lin Chen? Absolutely impossible. What a joke, how to write it? Will it appear in the textbooks in the future? The Emperor of Garka country Lungamo failed to pretend to be powerful twice in a row, resulting in monster attacks, and he had no choice but to ask Lin Chen of the Wangzi Empire to eliminate the monster. Okay, we will arrange it as soon as possible. Lungamo covered his chest, feeling heartbroken. He failed to show off twice in front of the global audience. The war fortress was gone, the motorcycle mobile unit was left with only an empty shell, and Kate City became a ruin. Now he had to pay a large sum of money to the Wangzi Empire. You can contact me if you need it in the future. The Garka Kingdom is an old customer. I can decide to give you a discount. Lungamo looked embarrassed. He would never show off again. Even if he felt uncomfortable all over, he had to endure it. The cost of showing off was too high. 5 days later, the huge monster body was transported back to the Wangzi Empire. At this time, there was another monster body in the base. At the same time, at Lin Chen's request, the Empire once again urgently transferred a scientific research team of hundreds of people. Of course, the research on monsters was done by those scientific researchers, and Lin Chen had no spare time to do those scientific research. Almost every day was training trainees. This is the pressure chamber, this is the pointer G-mode launch, and this is the emergency landing. Okay, is there anything you don't understand? Lin Chen used simulation technology to simulate the various operating methods of the Tianlong. The students officially entered the last course, learning Mecha. In a spacious classroom, a group of students looked at each other. After a long time, Aya stood up and asked, Professor Lin, when can I have the same driving skills as you? I want to be as strong as you and be able to drive well in any environment, just like an experienced driver. Chapter 57. The coffin-like cockpit. The operation of the Mecha is very complicated, but even so, Lin Chen's driving skills have already made them scalp numb when fighting monsters. So the students all tacitly regard Lin Chen as a role model, eager to have his superb driving skills. I think it's almost done when your hand speed is fast enough. Lin Chen looked at Elsa deeply and hit her mercilessly. This girl didn't have much highlights, she was just beautiful and had a good figure. Fast hand speed. Elsa looked at her right hand in confusion. It was very fast. Is there any project to train hand speed? No, it must not be as simple as I imagined. I must discuss with Professor Lin alone how to train hand speed in the future. That's all for today. I will give you a big surprise soon. Lin Chen smiled mysteriously. After hearing this, everyone was shocked. Thinking of the two Mechas that were about to be put into service, this meant that everyone started to discuss happily. That's right, we must let us really drive the Mechas. Wow, I've been waiting for this day for a long time. I'm nervous when it's over. A group of students were talking excitedly. After all, driving a Mecha had been entangled in their dreams for a long time. At night, Lin Chen opened the system panel in the bedroom. Host. Lin Chen Task 1. Stop the invasion of monsters and crush the aliens' conspiracy. Task 2. Have your own power. Task 3. Be able to lead the party's own power. Fan value. 110 million. The above tasks are just those. Anyway, for Lin Chen, the progress of tasks is slow or he has no clue. Then, he called Lao Wang, one of the leaders of the scientific research personnel, and asked him to come on his trip. After a while, Lao Wang came to Lin Chen's bedroom and asked, "Is there anything?" "I have a document here. The technology contained is not complicated. You can take a look and try to make one first," Lin Chen said with a pile of information in his hand. Strictly speaking, this technology is actually a reward from the system. This is. Lao Wang took a look at the information and immediately became excited. Yes, the driving simulation cabin. Yes, Lao Wang took a breath. Once this driving simulation cabin appears, drivers will avoid a large part of the training time in the future. It can even be described as mass production of drivers. Don't be so happy, I also have a game VR cabin, a real 3D game cabin, which is a good thing. It can relieve the psychological depression of you people to a large extent. Lin Chen said. What is there such a technology, is it true or false? Lao Wang was immediately shocked. They are scientists. Besides working all day, the only entertainment is sleeping and watching TV. There is no other entertainment program, but if there is this game VR cabin, it will be different. Maybe it can also meet the needs of adults. This is the real artifact. Driven by profit, Lao Wang paid special attention to the manufacture of the driving simulation cabin. In less than half a month, he successfully manufactured a driving simulation cabin. A driving simulation cabin that looks like a large coffin. When Lin Chen and others saw Lao Wang and his team finish the manufacturing, they looked at him in surprise. Sorry, the technology is too advanced. Although it looks a bit ugly, don't you find that time is used up very quickly? Lao Wang smiled honestly. There was a box covering an area of 5 square meters beside him, with several cables extending from the ground and a monitor screen on the side. It's fast, but Lao Wang, what does this simulated cockpit look like? Lin Chen walked around the cockpit that covered an area of about 5 cubic meters. Iron box. Lao Wang said. No, it looks more like a large coffin. Lin Chen said. Everyone. I'll go in and try it first. After Lin Chen finished speaking, he opened the hatch and entered to try it out. The driving simulation truly realizes the training like the real scene. When performing the simulated driving, the surrounding scenes will suddenly change and become the scene of the base runway. You can even feel the flow of wind. After a while, Lin Chen finished the trial and nodded and said, "Okay, let's do it this way. It's best to achieve mass production in the shortest time." What about the technology? Don't worry, wait a few days. You must bring people to make more simulated cockpits so that the students can have training. Lin Chen said. Lao Wang nodded and felt that what he said made sense. Then Lin Chen began to greet a group of eager students to start training. Faces were looking at Lin Chen nervously and expectantly. Well, let Aya go first. Lin Chen said. Aya swallowed her saliva, hurriedly changed her uniform in the locker room according to Lin Chen's request, and walked into the driving simulation cabin. She looked at Lin Chen in panic, feeling that she had no idea what to do next. This is the indicator, and this is the limiter. You have all learned about it before. Lin Chen leaned half of his body into the cockpit and gave a brief introduction, then stepped out and closed the hatch. Let's get started. Everyone came to the monitoring screen on the side of the cockpit. Once there was any terrifying scene of a crash, Lin Chen would press the red button and take emergency shutdown measures. Avoid leaving the trainer with a sequelae of fear. In the simulated cockpit, Elsa's heartbeat accelerated while recalling the knowledge that Lin Chen had taught her, while operating the indicator fiercely. Swoosh! The cockpit screen suddenly changed. From Elsa's perspective, although she was driving the simulation cabin, the scene she saw had already flown out of the base. If you don't know that you are really in the cockpit, you'll definitely think that this is a real mecha. Real, everything is real. Ah. Within 3 minutes, Lin Chen took the emergency brake system for her with a dark face. The reason is that she is about to run into the sea. Aya's legs went limp with fear, and she immediately fell on Lin Chen as soon as she entered the cabin, gasping for breath. Next. Lin Chen called out. From time to time, waves of women's very magical screams came out of the driving simulation cabin. Oh, finally, Lin Chen's face turned black. These individual trainees were either frightened to the point of weakness in their legs or vomited. The last one to come down was Yi Chuan, the son of the pig farm, and the only excellent driver who lasted for 15 minutes. As soon as he came down, he laughed and said, "It's really fun, but there are no monsters, and I feel uncomfortable all over." A group of trainees looked at him pretending with expressionless faces. Night. When it was late at night and quiet in the base, most people had already fallen asleep. Lin Chen was no exception, but the door of the bedroom opened gently. "Who is it?" Lin Chen suddenly lost all sleepiness. "It's me, I have something to talk to you about." A familiar female voice came from outside the door, with a strong tone of nervousness, anxiety and embarrassment. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novel, as there you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 58. If I don't do something, the Wang's Empire will feel itchy all over. Author's words. The editor informed that Pu Lang's name is not acceptable, so let's call him Pussy. Lin Chen listened carefully and knew who the woman outside the door was. Is that you? Yes, it's me, open the door first. Jingxi's voice was quite impatient. Lin Chen really couldn't figure out why Jingxi didn't sleep in the middle of the night to find him. Could it be that she couldn't sleep and came to listen to his story? He opened the door in his pajamas. Jingxi was wearing casual clothes at the time, standing at the door, her delicate face suddenly blushed, and said, "Lin Chen, I think, ? Lin Chen. It's the cockpit simulator, I want to try it, but I don't know how to do it, so." Jingxi said. "Well, that's it, let's go." Lin Chen nodded. He took Jingxi to the women's locker room. There were only a few sets of real uniforms now. After searching, he found the largest uniform and handed it to her, saying, "This uniform is for Elsa, and it's the largest size. The other women's uniforms are too big, so she wears it alone." "Yeah." Jingxi blushed. Then, their eyes met. After a long time, Jingxi asked, "Are you going to stand here and watch me change clothes? I'm afraid you won't know how to wear them." Jingxi. Jingxi changed her clothes and walked out of the dressing room. Elsa's figure is very hot, but Jingxi's figure is still better, and she can't hold it anymore. Jingxi entered the driving simulation cabin, and Lin Chen leaned in half of his body and introduced again, "This is the indicator, and this is the filling of the pressure chamber. Have you learned it?" Lin Chen asked. "I think I have." "Well, then I'll start," Lin Chen said. Immediately afterwards, Jingxi's frequent screams rang out in the driving simulation cabin, as if she had experienced something very unforgettable in it. "Ah?" she asked with lingering fear. "Do you drive this kind of thing every time you go to battle? It is hard to imagine that in the sky, with such a fast speed and cumbersome operation, you have to deal with monsters." "Yeah." "Help me back, I can't walk anymore." Jingxi immediately discovered Lin Chen's abnormality and asked, "Does your body react?" "Well, this is normal. Dopamine receptors cause renal vasodilation and renal blood flow. At the same time, dobutamine begins to resonate in large quantities, causing phenylethylamine to stimulate the brain center. So this reaction is a joint reaction of dopamine, dobutamine and phenylethylamine." Lin Chen supported her and gave her a scientific popularization. Jingxi blinked her eyes, her head was a little unresponsive, and she asked dizzily, "What am I?" The next day, the base unexpectedly received a notice that foreign ministers and Lai would come to the base in the afternoon. Jingxi was puzzled by the purpose of this uninvited guest. Was it to win him over? Or for cooperation? She couldn't figure it out. Foreign Minister Lin Chen was a smart and capable middle-aged man in the empire. When he arrived at the base, he immediately shook hands with Lin Chen enthusiastically, as if he was asking for help. Hello. Hello. After a brief polite exchange, Lin Chen talked about business. Professor Lin, I won't hide it from you. Now I heard that the Jianmeng Empire is drafting a bill to increase various taxes on us to curb our development. So I came here in the hope that the best and largest scientific research base in the empire can come up with some technological products to break the market and let our products circulate outward. Lin Chen put away his smile. He was not interested in the competition between countries. After thinking for a while, he said, there is a VR cabin. The kind for playing games. Yeah, will this thing work? Lin Chen looked embarrassed. He hoped to take some technological products from the base, and then use the Empire's enterprises to manufacture them vigorously, just like the Empire's glass, to force foreign countries to lower taxes. This is a great VR cabin. I don't have any other suitable for people's livelihood. They are all researching military industry. Why not research people's livelihood? Lin Chen's heart suddenly jumped. A princess who was excluded and a crazy scientist who was obsessed with force. When these two came together, I'm afraid it would be old Wang took the data extracted from the monster's body. Lin Chen called with headphones. After a while, a document about the intense research on the monster's body was brought over by old Wang. There was a big red stamp on it. Special grade confidential document. Foreign Minister Lin Chen took it and looked at it. At first, the solemnity at the beginning had turned into a deep horror. Thinking of the doubts every time the monsters appeared. He quickly read it and swallowed his saliva, and said in horror, all signs indicate that the monster is a long-planned conspiracy. Lin Chen nodded. The alien conspiracy is real, and the system has proved this. And the scientific researchers at the base just came up with a set of convincing evidence. So I hope Uncle Cam, Jiangxia said at the right time. I understand. The damage caused by the internal strife of the empire will only bring disaster to the empire. Lin Chen smiled bitterly and understood a lot in an instant. What's the point of internal strife? Jiangmen Jiwan is in his twilight years. Now there are monsters appearing frequently. In this case, of course, they will unite to fight against the monsters. It has only been a short time, and the number of monsters has begun to increase greatly every time. I'll leave the game cabin to you. The fate of the empire in the future depends on you too. Lin Chen is a man who knows what to do. When the enemy comes, he knows what he should do, and the princess is also from a good background. As for he looked at Lin Chen deeply before leaving. If it weren't for his appearance, Jiangxi's fate would not have changed. 2 months later. The whole world was in a calm atmosphere. The monsters that used to appear every month suddenly disappeared and haven't appeared for 2 months. Is it extinct? Maybe. People only know that the monsters appeared from the bottom of the sea, so they built sonar monitoring stations on the sea level. But when these monitoring stations have never had any chance to perform. As time went by, the whole world began to doubt whether the monsters had been defeated. It was in such an atmosphere that Pussy of Jianmeng Empire began to get restless and always wanted to do something big. In recent years, the national strength of Jianmeng Empire has made substantial progress, and the number of terror robots has reached 25. On the other hand, Wang's empire only has a cool mecha, but no matter how powerful a mecha is, can it be more powerful than 25 terror killers? Just kidding, you have to know that these terror killers have been equipped with new energy cannons. Not to mention Mechas, even if monsters come, they can shine. With his confidence soaring, he felt that if he didn't seize this opportunity and take the lead in doing something to Wang's empire, he would feel itchy all over. Of course, it would be best if he could get the mecha technology at Wang's empire. So, Pussy began to contact some forces that have always been unhappy with Wang's empire. Hello. My dear Lunamo, I heard that you have always been at odds with the Wang's empire. Are you interested in fighting them with our Jianmeng empire? Fight the Wang's empire, but they have the most powerful mecha in the world. Lunamo has been keeping a low profile recently and focusing on domestic construction. Now that he heard that he was going to fight the Wang's empire with the Jianmeng empire, he instinctively backed off. After all, the mecha of the Wang's empire was the most popular in the country of Gaka. Fuck, our Jianmeng empire also has a mecha called the Terror Killer. Let me tell you, our Jianmeng empire already has 25 Terror Killers, and they will be mass-produced soon. Even if monsters come, we have the ability to protect any country from monster attacks. Pussy was arrogant and raging on the phone. Lunamo was silent. Although he didn't know what the Terror Killer of the Jianmeng empire was, the name was really powerful. The name of the war fortress was also very cool. But in the end, it was still killed by the monster. Chapter 59 Mission changes. So the stronger the name, the weaker the strength. This is all the painful price Lin Chen paid for it. Now he is going to fight with Jianmeng Empire to deal with Wang's Empire. What if the monster comes again? Anyway, he is determined not to pretend, never. So Lin Chen rejected Pussi's invitation without hesitation and hung up the phone immediately. Beep beep, a busy tone. Pussi was furious and said, "Fuck this damn Lin Chen, just wait and see. After I finish dealing with Wang's Empire, I will deal with your Jiraka kingdom." Then, he contacted Sanhan Kingdom. "Hello, Lagopu, are you interested in dealing with Wang's Empire?" "Yes, of course, they detained our Sanhan genius for no reason, and they must be severely punished." "Very good, it's settled." Pussi was overjoyed. "Look, what is an ally? This is an ally who never fails to deal with Wang's Empire." Later, Pussi united a total of 6 countries, all of which were forces that had always been unhappy with Wang's Empire. After forming a united front, Pussi immediately took out the bill that had been prepared long ago to impose sanctions on the Wang's Empire. That night, the Jianmeng Empire issued a statement. "In view of the increasingly serious situation of monsters, we hereby notify you that the import and export taxes of the Wang's Empire will be increased in 1 week. The specific implementation plan is as follows." The other 6 countries followed closely to issue statements. Because of the support of the Jianmeng Empire, they felt that the Wang's Empire was finished this time, and they might even let the Wang's Empire become a colonial country again. The whole world was in an uproar that day. The monsters have not appeared for just 2 months, and the Jianmeng Empire has made such a big move to target the Wang's Empire. The 7 countries headed by the Jianmeng Empire were celebrating, and even their people have taken to the streets to celebrate this great move. Such a great move must be the order of Emperor Pussi. Pussi is the most capable emperor of the Jianmeng Empire. Under his wise leadership, we have defeated the monsters and are about to defeat the evil Wang's Empire. We must apply to build a great statue of the male god of freedom in the image of Pussi in our capital. Woohoo! Sanctions against the Wang's Empire are good news for the whole world. The people of the Jianmeng Empire agree with this move very much, because in the few months since the monsters appeared, the country has been in turmoil, prices have soared, and money has become unimportant. At present, sanctions against the Wang's Empire are needed to ease the financial situation of the empire. Here, the Wang's Empire. Stunned. Did those countries in the Jianmeng Empire take the wrong medicine? The internet has exploded. What's going on? Will the things we import be twice as expensive in the future? The things we export are also twice as expensive. Damn it, it seems that monsters are the global liberators now. Only with the monsters' attacks will countries behave themselves. I heard that several large trading companies are going to the Jianmeng Empire to protest together. The situation inside the Wang's Empire is turbulent, because once the import trade tax is increased, it will undoubtedly bring a financial storm to the Wang's Empire. Faced with this situation, the central government of the Wang's Empire put aside their prejudices and prepared to work together to break the blockade from abroad. So after a long argument, foreign ministers and Lai finally came up with a safe plan. Lin Chen's base has a VR cabin, which may force the Jianmeng Empire to make concessions. So the central government of the empire agreed to go to the base together tomorrow. The next day, the constellation delegation composed of Queen Jifu, Minister Yang Ming, the Council of Elders, etc. from the central government of the empire is coming. Lin Chen was in the command room, watching the surveillance of the runway. After 2 months, not only the outside world has changed, but the changes in the base are even greater. First of all, several students, led by Chuan, the son of the pig farm, and Aya, the big-breasted girl, can already pilot launches, and the rest of the students can also pilot them skillfully in the driving simulator. Even though that constellation group is coming today, the students' training remains the same. All aircraft are ready to take off. The Jinlong has taken off. The Lilan has taken off. The Panlong has taken off. In the command room, the relevant personnel responsible for starting the control spoke, and the guided Mechas took off. Swoosh, 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 3 Mechas rushed into the blue sky. The base is truly capable of resisting monsters. Each aircraft maintains an altitude of 1,000 meters, and the current airspace conditions are the sound of the control came to the ears of the pilot. Today is the 3rd day that Chuan has taken off. He also thinks that his driving skills are great, but the only flaw is that there are no monsters at this time. If a monster appears, it will be really perfect. I will definitely be able to show off in front of the global audience until the monster's scalps are numb. Soon, the Mechas in the sky attracted widespread attention from the people below, and there was a cheer. That's a mecha. Three of them took off. Long live the Empire, long live Lin Chen. Why don't the monsters come? We have more Mechas. Ha ha, I'll see the monsters trembling in the future. Feeling the enthusiasm of the people below, the three pilots' hearts almost melted, and their vanity was greatly satisfied. So they flew all kinds of things happily, wishing to fly all over the Empire. In the command room, the control was activated and looked at the position displayed by the writer. He turned his head and said, "Report, 3 Mechas are flying north, and they will leave Jinshi if they fly any further. Let them all fly back." Yi Chuan, Aya and the other 2 received the notification and hurriedly flew back in disgrace. At this moment, they passed a transport plane. "Look at the plane." Yi Chuan glanced and hurriedly called his companions. The passengers in this transport plane were the core of the Empire. When they saw 3 Mechas in the sky not far away, they were all shocked. 3 Mechas? Are they really mass-produced? We are already invincible with 1 mecha. Now 3 Mechas will be invincible. It's a pity that there are no monsters. The core of the Empire sat in the plane and discussed for a while. This was the best news since the statement issued by the Jinli Empire. Jinji sat on the plane and looked out the window. Her mouth had turned into a knot shape. Are these really Lin Chen's Mechas? He is too good, right? Jinji has seen outstanding young talents. She is a princess of the Empire. Naturally, she is always accompanied by outstanding young talents of the Empire in the places she goes in and out. But in comparison, those talents are living under the glory of their elders, while Lin Chen has gradually mastered the most advanced mecha power with his own strength. This is the best young man in the Empire and even the world. In an instant, she thought that she was no worse than that wild girl. If she were also in this space, she would definitely do better. At the time, Lin Chen saw that the mecha was flying back, so he opened the system panel. Host: Lin Chen. Mission 1. Block the monster's attack and crush the aliens' conspiracy. Mission 2. Have your own power. Progress 5%. Mission 3. Be able to dominate a force. Fan value: 110 million. After reading the system's tasks, there have been slight changes. Lin Chen's body stiffened, and he hurriedly looked at the 3 Mechas on the radar, and then looked at the progress of Mission 2. Brothers and sisters, please update the little prince, please. It's PK again, and the results are needed. It will last until next Monday, a whole week. During this period, it all depends on your support. Please, everyone, the toilets in the author's house is smelly and unpleasant, and I really don't want to cry myself to death in the toilet. Chapter 60. Did the monster also read the art of war? In other words, the completion of Task 2 depends on the 60 students. Lin Chen made a bold guess in an instant. To have one's own power is to have a mecha unit. Yes, it must be like this. Then Lin Chen's thoughts drifted to the hangar, where 15 Mechas were being manufactured urgently. According to the speed of manufacturing Mechas, which doubled each time, the task should be completed when the next batch of Mechas are put into service. The only pity at present is that we don't know what the reward for the task is. Lin Chen's consolation group is here. Jingshi pushed the door in. Lin Chen nodded. After a while, the consolation group appeared in the reception room together. Everyone sat down, talking and laughing, and the atmosphere was very lively for a while, but in fact, they were in harmony. After a long time, General Manager Yang Min smiled and spoke. He is a very elegant middle-aged man. If he hadn't heard about it from Jingshi, he would not have seen any ambition at all. Lin Chen, I think you also know the purpose of our trip. The Jianmeng Empire is currently working with several trading countries to curb our development. I heard from Zli that there is a VR cabin in the base, so the Empire currently hopes to use this VR cabin as our trump card to break their blockade. After Yang Ming finished speaking, Jingmin Jiwan's current wife Jifu also smiled and said, as long as we have technical products that make the people at the Jianmeng Empire excited, then the people at the Jianmeng Empire will hold a parade to solve it for us. She is a charming and beautiful woman. Even as a mother, she has a more mature and seductive temperament. Ahem. Jingshi coughed as she entered the door. She was worried that these old foxes would sell Lin Chen out, so she sat not far from Lin Chen. Lin Chen glanced at her. Since it is the development of the Empire, we should abandon everything. There is only one goal, to break the containment of the Jianmeng Empire on us. Jingshi smiled. Can you tell me what this VR cabin is like? The Minister of the Interior was very impatient. This technology uses the technology Mecha to achieve a real 3D effect. It mainly uses the eye structure to achieve a satisfactory effect for the public. Lin Chen came up and explained the principle of the VR cabin. Question mark, question mark, question mark. Everyone was confused. What are these things? Just get to the point. Jiangxi was speechless. It's similar to the equipment in the movie Ready Player One. It's a real 3D game. It is divided into 3 types of equipment: high, medium and low. The cost price is about 5,000, 3,500. Everyone in the conference room was shocked. If it is really the same as the equipment in the movie Ready Player One, it will definitely make the whole nation crazy. Because it is a game comparable to the real thing. Both men and women, young and old, will be addicted. If the Wangxi Empire really has this technology product, won't the people of other countries be jealous? At the time, they will take to the streets and march to force those countries to lift the blockade. Wonderful. Thinking of this, the big stone in everyone's heart was put down, and their faces were much more relaxed. If we promote the VR cabin, it will surely break the current situation. It must be implemented as soon as possible. If we make this VR cabin into a game like anti-terrorism, won't it be a long time before everyone will be soldiers? I second the motion, and we must implement it as soon as possible. The center of the empire finally looked at Jiangxi. There was intelligence before that Jiangxi and Lin Chen were very close, but according to the current situation, is it just a close relationship? Let me add one thing. Jiangxi really started to show off. As the most eye-catching focus of the scene, almost everyone was watching her hard performance. After a supplement, you are worthy of being the eldest princess. This idea is very good. After discussing for a long time, they finally decided on the specific implementation method. The technology was provided by Lin Chen's base, and the empire was responsible for mass production and promotion, so that it could be used by all people. Jiangxi sat in the back, and etiquette told her to keep smiling at this time. In addition to this expression, she didn't know how to cover up her almost twisted heart. Listening to the core of the empire, she was jealous and crazy. Since the last awarding ceremony, she found that the princess who was about to disappear began to be paid attention to again. Occasionally, people also mentioned how the wild girl was. At present, coupled with these people constantly asking about the wild girl's well-being, she was so close to Lin Chen. If she really got together with Lin Chen in the future, what position would this noble princess have in the empire? This scene was really an eyesore. She was quite confused. Why was this wild girl so popular? However, as long as Jiangxi thought about it, she felt her heart start to ache. The purpose of the so-called condolence group was soon achieved. Later, at the request of Yang Ming, they had to visit the hangar. But when he came to the hangar carelessly, he was immediately shocked. Are these 15 Mechas going to serve soon? Yes, the staff's experience has begun to master it, so the progress will be faster and faster. Lin Chen said. Yang Ming asked earnestly, will the monster appear again in the future? He hoped that the monster would not appear, because the appearance of the monster had already given this young man too much power. Lin Chen said, yes, they haven't appeared in the past 2 months. I guess they are brewing an unprecedented group of monsters. Yes, the core members of the empire took a breath of cold air. In the past, they really didn't treat monsters as an important matter. After all, they were just a group of large creatures with low IQ. But after Lin Chen said this, why do they feel that the crisis from monsters is getting bigger and bigger? First, they lowered the vigilance of human beings, and then unexpectedly, a large number of monsters appeared and destroyed all human cities in one go. Damn, did the monsters also read the art of war? Everyone was silent. Professor Lin, can you talk about monsters? After all, you are the first person in the world who has killed monsters twice by yourself. The person who spoke was Jiangxi, who was unwilling to be compared with her. Lin Chen led them into the war room. Here is everything they want to know. After a while, when everyone learned about the current monster information, their heads were all dizzy. High physical defense, but extremely poor internal defense. Is this why you always shoot freezing bullets into the monster's body? Lizardman. 2-winged lizardman. 4-winged lizardman. Will there be 6-winged and 8-winged ones in the future? Everyone felt that the name was too hasty. Well, at least there is a name, which is better than calling it Monster. Please. Our ranking has dropped again, and we need the support of brothers and sisters. Otherwise, the author will cry in the toilet again later. Chapter 61. You are the worst class I have ever taught. On the third day after the consolation group formed by the Empire Central left, a team of hundreds of engineers was transferred to the base where Lin Chen was located. The purpose of coming to the base was simple: to learn V-cabin technology. As soon as these engineers arrived, they were immediately shocked by the facilities of the base. Especially in the hangar, looking at them chase being manufactured felt like walking into a science fiction movie. I didn't expect that this base would be so huge. It feels more ceremonial here than the environment I worked in before. Busy but not chaotic, with clear division of labor. A group of engineers have changed since entering the base, and unconsciously put themselves a head lower than others. Look at them, this is a real engineer. There are personnel flow everywhere in the base, but the personnel are all doing their work. Anyway, they have never experienced such a working environment. This team of engineers with hundreds of people stood there and didn't know who to find or who to ask, so they stood there curiously looking at the environment here, and from time to time marveled at the terrible construction of the base. At this time, Lao Wang, one of the leaders of the base's scientific research workers, was responsible for coming to receive the engineering team. As soon as he came over and saw that there were many familiar faces in this engineering team, he was stunned and asked in surprise, "Hey, Lao-san? Lao-ju? Lao-sha? Lao-bai?" The engineering team was also stunned. They didn't expect to meet acquaintances here, so they greeted each other and were curious about Lao Wang's position. "Lao Wang. Hectares, I really didn't expect to meet you here. It's been 5 years. It feels like you have ended up here. Are you not running errands here, Lao Wang? Come and tell us about it." Feeling the contempt of many scientific research friends, Lao Wang said seriously, "I am one of the leaders of the scientific research workers in the base. I mainly assist Professor Lin in building Mechas." The engineering team was stunned. "What, you have a pig brain?" Immediately, one by one, they began to get angry. If Lao Wang's brain can get a leader to build Mechas in the base, then wouldn't it be as easy for them to come to the base to learn VR cabin technology as learning how 1 + 1 = how many? Soon, this team of hundreds of engineers were all taken to a large classroom. When Lin Chen was informed that the Empire's engineering team had arrived at the base, he rushed over immediately. However, as soon as he entered the spacious classroom, the atmosphere suddenly became tense. Fuck, he is the legendary god of science and technology in our scientific community. It is said that as long as you hang Lin Chen's photo on the bedside, you can ward off evil spirits. I heard that some universities of science and technology are preparing to build a viewing room with Lin Chen's photo hanging on it, so that students can admire Lin Chen's style through photos every day. People looked at Lin Chen in horror. Their eyes were full of intense enthusiasm, more excited than fans seeing their idols. "My name is Lin Chen. I should have mentioned the purpose of your visit above, so I won't repeat it. We have limited time, so let's start now." Lin Chen made a simple self-introduction and started to get straight to the point. Everyone hurriedly took out their pens to record it. However, everyone's expression was not very nervous, but rather relaxed and comfortable. After all, even Lao Wang's pig brain could build a more advanced mecha. So now, wouldn't this VR cabin, which is simpler than a mecha, be learned in just 2 days? Very easy, no pressure. Lin Chen didn't understand why these engineers looked so relaxed. They looked completely different from Lao Wang's group. Could it be that this class was the best one he had ever taught? Lin Chen was confused by the smoke bombs thrown by the other party, so he asked, "Why are you all so relaxed?" "It's just the VR cabin technology. Professor Lin, please tell us." Everyone laughed again. Lin Chen nodded and began to talk. "The technology uses the technology Mecha to achieve a real 3D effect. It mainly uses the eye structure to achieve an interactive effect." The team of hundreds of engineers immediately perked up, and then they were dumbfounded. What are they talking about? Are they talking about the Book of Heaven? How come they can't understand it at all? After a while, everyone showed a confused look at the same time. An hour later, Lin Chen was thirsty and saw that everyone was intoxicated, so he asked while drinking water, "Do you understand it?" A group of engineers woke up from their confusion and replied in a daze, "Professor Lin, what did you just say?" Then they blushed and felt ashamed. Lao Wang's pig brain can make Mechas, but they can't even understand the technology that is simpler than Mechas. "You are the worst class I have ever taught. You don't understand but act very relaxed." Lin Chen took a deep breath. "I have the technical drawings here. If you don't understand it, just watch the video." Lin Chen showed deep contempt. These people are definitely here to make trouble. A month later, the engineers of the base left the base, and everyone had mastered the principle of the VR cabin. After receiving this news, the Empire immediately founded 5 large electronic companies of the Empire and began to make the next plan. After negotiation, the bosses of the 5 electronic companies were stunned. Shocked, the Empire actually mastered the VR cabin technology. After layers of communication and the allocation of technical engineers, the 5 large companies immediately started to make VR cabins according to the Empire's requirements. On that day, Wangwei Technology Company, one of the largest electronic companies in the Empire and one of the most hated companies in the Jianmeng Empire, held a press conference. The beautiful host announced to dozens of reporters, "At present, our company is making every effort to manufacture a new VR product. Reporters, please look at the screen behind me. This product is called VR Cabin. It truly realizes 3D technology. You haven't heard of it. It allows you to experience the real game scene in person." After the introduction, all the reporters were in an uproar. Wangwei Company is worthy at being a large company in the Empire. It's awesome. Today's product is simply the equipment in the movie Ready Player One. It's actually realized. May I ask, how long did your company develop this black technology product? A reporter asked. I don't know this question, but I can tell you one thing. This VR cabin was developed by Professor Lin himself, and our company was only commissioned by the Empire to manufacture it. The host laughed. At the same time, several other major technology companies were also holding press conferences, and the content was almost identical to that of Wangwei Company, VR cabins. Subsequently, the news about VR cabins spread rapidly throughout the Empire overnight like a hurricane. With the fermentation of time, the gaming industry and the internet exploded the next day. The 3rd update is completed. Thank you for your support. The author did not cry in the toilet today. Chapter 62. This is a 3D game of steel guns. There are all kinds of news like this all over the place. VR cabins, and even the subways and buses seem to be the same. It has really reached the point of being promoted throughout the Empire. Hello friends, in response to the Empire's arrangement, our company will sell VR cabins next week. The real 3D effect will bring you into the game. What are you waiting for? If you were a friend, come to the game and fight with me. Attached a piece of game content, peaceful gunfight. Whether we like it or not, cruel violence will always happen in reality, and what we need is the courage to face violence. Game setting. The situation facing monsters is becoming increasingly severe, and a military simulation competition is now open. Brave men go together and pursue dreams in the clouds. All special forces defend world peace together. The above are all game content. The first reaction of the people is disbelief, and the second reaction must be that those companies deliberately put up smoke bombs, and the actual effect is very rubbish. But as some of the game content was broadcast, they were all stunned. It was actually a realistic 3D game, and the game content can also include gunfights and monsters. This game equipment is really cool. Damn, once this device comes out, it will set off a global gaming landscape. It's so exciting, I can't wait to buy it after seeing it for a while. No need to guess, it's definitely something for the rich. How can such a good gaming device be played by us ordinary people? I think this may be the secret weapon of our Wangxian Empire. Bullshit, as everyone knows, only Mechas are the secret weapons of our Wangxian Empire. It's just a rubbish gaming device. Even if it's given to me for free, I don't want it. The streets of Wangxian Empire are constantly discussing it, and it has become a popular topic for a while. On Weibo, the popularity of the game cabin is unparalleled, firmly occupying the list, and will kick out all the trivial things about the star's recent eating and shitting from people's vision. For example, the socks of a certain female star are all fragrant. For example, the photos of a certain female star's what the door. For example, the 5-year-old son of a certain star turned out to be the son of the neighbor Xiao Wang. In short, under the arrangement of the Empire, the popularity of the VR cabin is very high. Here, with the secret instructions of the Wangxi Empire, news about VR cabins began to ferment in the Jianmeng Empire and spread to various groups. Can you play immersive 3D games? Such a great thing, of course you have to play it. I think this VR cabin will be popular all over the world, its experience is really great. Looking forward to next week, I must buy a whole set of the best equipment. VR cabins began to spread in the Jianmeng Empire, and the people at the Jianmeng Empire were also looking forward to this VR cabin, but they did not realize an important problem at all. Will they be exported to the Jianmeng Empire? After a week. 5 large companies sold out a full 500,000 sets of equipment. The people of the Empire only then discovered that there were 3 types of equipment in the VR cabin. Those who had no money could spend $1 to buy a simple VR glasses and go home, and they could still play it well and have a great experience. And the 5 large companies will produce several times, or even dozens of times this number in the future. At night, the people of the Empire eagerly followed the instructions to carefully identify themselves, download it from the official website, and then experience the game. Pinch the face, pinch the height. As soon as I entered the game, I was shocked. If it weren't for the ID name, most people would be the same as if they were carved from the same mold. At a glance, there were a large group of Yanza and Yuyan. Fuck, this is a great game, I feel like I'm in another world. By the way, where is the beginner's tutorial for this game? Everyone, look, there are a group of Jin Kong sisters pulling down the pants of male players. As soon as I entered the game, the first group of people in the Empire who tried it out were shocked. After their curiosity was over, they began to familiarize themselves with the beginner process. Not long after, they skipped the beginner process, and one by one, the King of Special Forces was born. Immediately afterwards, a big sign came into view: International Defense Exhibition, Wang's Empire Exhibition Area. There was also a positive energy slogan next to it. Brave people walk together, chasing dreams in the clouds. Behind them were transport planes ready to take off at any time. Go, get on the plane. The content of the game is that players will become special forces, be dropped into a seaside city, pick up weapons in the building to engage in CS gunfights, and persist for a period of time, and monsters will appear. Great. Being able to fight monsters is a dream that every man has fantasized about all day long in his childhood. Now he can finally realize this dream of fighting monsters and saving the world. So everyone was excited to play until the mandatory time to get off the plane. The next day, videos of experiencing VR cabins began to flood the internet. Many users who did not buy VR cabins were stunned after watching the game video of VR cabins last night. Fuck, is this a real steel gun? Exciting, comparable to a real gunfight. In the end, you can even fight monsters. Brothers, who will buy me a set of VR cabins? I can meet any of your rude requests. I am super cute, manly, and a slat protects my hot hair. So, the people of the Empire began to be eager to buy the next batch of VR cabins. Such a great game must be played. No, it is not your game anymore. Strictly speaking, it is to feel the charm of military competition. The release of the VR cabin has diverted the attention of the people of the Empire. They are no longer anxious. There are news about the VR cabin everywhere. And the Jianmeng Empire. Fuck, it's fake, it must be fake. It's been a week, why is there no place to buy the VR cabin? I have money, but where can I buy the VR cabin? The people of the Jianmeng Empire have been unable to bear it and are about to explode. This is a feeling of being deceived. They have worked hard and waited for a whole week, but they found that there is no place to buy the VR cabin. Fuck. Pussy sat in the office, confused, and muttered to himself. That's not right. Doesn't the Wang's Empire want the overseas market anymore? Chapter 63. The more I think about it, the angrier I get. The more I watch, the more I want to play. Pussy was just thinking about it. It would be best if he didn't come here to sell VR cabins. Anyway, in the future, he will beat whoever he doesn't obey, and whoever he doesn't like will be beaten. Don't ask why. Now that he has the Mecha Horror Killer, he is so confident. Now the Jianmeng Empire already has 30 Horror Killers, Mechas, while the Wang's Empire has just added 2 new Mechas. In terms of quantity, he has a perfect victory, 10-1, and in terms of quality, there is nothing to say, also a perfect victory, because the Mecha Horror Killers are equipped with super weapons. Just ask them if they're afraid. Apart from anything else, even if a monster appears now, Pussy can tell people not to panic. The Horror Killer, Mecha, is enough to defend the safety of the Jianmeng Empire. Killing monsters in seconds is not a problem. It's a pity that if there is no monster now, we can't show the true power of the Jianmeng Empire in front of the global audience. Pussy shook his head. What he wants is to use 30 Mechas to give an unprecedented speech like the old guy Lin Gummo. Let the whole world see the terrible power of the Mecha Horror Killer. At night, VR cabins once again became a hot topic on the internet. Because of the appearance of VR cabins, the people of Jianmeng Empire now find everything they eat tasteless and everything they play boring. As time goes by, this makes the people of Jianmeng Empire realize a very serious problem. Why are VR cabins only available in Wang's Empire? Could it be that they have never thought of selling them to Jianmeng Empire? How can this be tolerated? Shouldn't all good things belong to Jianmeng Empire? So the young men and women of Jianmeng Empire looked at the game videos of the players of Wangzi Empire with envy, and cursed wildly. This is just a rubbish game, isn't it just an immersive 3D effect? Rubbish, I won't play it even if it's given to me for free. We are all adults, why would we play such a rubbish game for children? Some of the most expensive equipment is only a few thousand yuan, cheap things are never good. Fuck, look at how bad they are at playing. If it were me, I would definitely get a pentakill. Go to bed, I never want to play VR cabins. Isn't our game Mushroom Man in Jianmeng Empire good? Although they said righteous words, everyone felt sour in their hearts, especially sour. Why can the people of Wangzi Empire play such a great game, while they have to sit in front of the computer all day to play shitty chicken games? If you want to play games, you should play the shooting games of Wangzi Empire with a bursting experience. The more you think about it, the angrier you get. The more you watch, the more you want to play. The next day, it was still a day when you couldn't buy a VR cabin. The people of Jianmeng Empire finally exploded, and the internet was full of topics about VR cabins. I'm about to explode. Why? Fuck, because I can't buy a VR cabin, my wife is going to divorce me. Why don't you sell us good things now? Damn it, I dreamed last night that I picked up a VR cabin when I went out. I went out excitedly this morning, but I stepped on a pile of dog shit. Now the people of Jianmeng Empire can't buy an advanced device called VR cabin. So the name of VR cabin, after being spread and discussed on the internet, quickly spread throughout the streets and alleys of Jianmeng Empire, and more people learned what kind of product VR cabin is. Many people's first reaction was disbelief. How could there be such a high-tech product? The second reaction, there is such a good thing, I must buy it. The third reaction, fuck, we can't buy it in Jianmeng Empire at all. At the time, Wangzi Empire. Many people are experiencing VR cabins at home, while some normal families only buy the cheapest VR glasses. Although the experience is a little worse, the experience effect is in line with people's psychological expectations. In the game, a game area with tens of thousands of people has entered a white-hot stage according to the game settings. The expected monster has finally appeared. The monster, like a mountain, almost immediately made countless players shout excitedly and vent their ammunition to the behemoth. Many people in the game are actually rushing to this monster, and they can fight monsters in the game. In the end, tens of thousands of king players failed. According to the setting, the players did not persist in a certain task time. But this not only did not affect the mentality of the players, but deepened their enthusiasm. This is comparable to fighting monsters in real life. So various game strategies began to form on the internet. In short, the more fun the Wangzi Empire has, the more envious and jealous the Jianmeng Empire will be. Inside the base, a batch of supplies were airlifted again. Many people were receiving and checking the supplies. Lin Chen nodded with satisfaction as he looked at the rows of driving simulation cabins. At present, they can be used for normal training at the trainees in the base. This progress is very fast. It is not a big problem to recruit another batch of Mecha trainees at the moment, or some can be distributed to other legions. Not long after, foreign ministers drove over specially. I heard that the Jianmeng Empire is hotly discussing VR cabins. Now VR cabins have become a popular topic. Xinglai said with a beaming eyebrow. Lin Chen nodded, not very interested in the topic Xinglai talked about. Instead, he looked at the monitoring on the side of the simulated cockpit. The driver inside was Yi Chuan, the son of the pig farm. This guy was performing various performances. He was thinking in his heart whether to make a monster's data and put it in the driving simulation cabin so that they could conduct combat training comparable to real life. Otherwise, it would be a show of strength now, but it would not play any role at all when the battle came. Thinking of this, Lin Chen felt that it made sense, because these people had begun to show signs of arrogance and pride recently. Professor Lin, are you listening to me? Xinglai couldn't help asking when he saw that he didn't say anything for a long time. You can just talk to Shira about this kind of thing. I'm not very interested. Lin Chen was stunned and pointed at Jingxia, who was receiving supplies not far away. Xinglai was speechless. Not long after, Jingxia checked the medical supplies and wanted to leave, but when she saw Xinglai was there, she walked over with her long legs without thinking. After a conversation, it is estimated that it won't be long before the relationship between the two empires will be the same as before, but since the relationship is good, of course we have to sell the best equipment to the Jianmeng Empire. Jiangxia said. Question mark. Xinglai was confused. Jiangxia smiled mysteriously and said, how about selling one for 100,000 yuan? Foreign Minister Xinglai was speechless. Is this a good relationship? Selling it to others for 100,000 yuan with a cost of 5,000 yuan? Sorry, I have to change the post until the afternoon today, so I haven't kept up with the update. By the way, I would like to ask for a wave of recommendation votes. Thank you all. Chapter 64. All nonsense. Are you sure that someone will buy this thing? Regardless of anything else, Xinglai thought that he would never buy it, but Mecha actually asked to sell it to Jianmeng Empire for 100,000 yuan per unit. This is a full 10 times. Here, you can buy something to enjoy at home for a few thousand yuan, but it is sold at a price more than 10 times that in Jianmeng Empire. You don't understand. The reason why VR cabins are expensive is because of the technology inside. And you also said that VR cabins are very popular in Jianmeng Empire. Jiangxia smiled, with obvious confidence on the corners of her mouth. This is the truth, but Xinglai always feels that this is too inhumane. In fact, this price is still cheap for them. In the future, VR cabins must be used to verify identity and download games. Jiangxia said. Foreign Minister Xinglai stood there speechless. Jiang Minjiwan is an old man who is good at calculating. His eldest daughter is completely better than the master. I know what you are worried about, but have you ever considered that it is cheaper to sell our own things to our own people, but why is it cheaper to sell them to outsiders? Jiangxia said seriously. Foreign Minister Xinglai was immediately embarrassed. Mecha is worthy of being the eldest princess of the empire. Later, after the business was over, Xinglai glanced at Lin Chen and whispered to Jiangxia, don't you want to go home and take a look? No. Jiangxia's body stiffened, and her voice was a little impatient. Here's now. Xinglai looked like he was about to say something but stopped. I know. Jiangxia's face was slightly cold, and she nodded, obviously not wanting to say anything more on this topic. What are you talking about? At this time, Lin Chen came over and asked. You want to listen to my family affairs too? Jiangxia looked at Lin Chen, with an indescribable look in her eyes. Lin Chen. Xinglai couldn't help other people's family affairs, so he had to find an excuse to talk to Lin Chen about other things, and then found an excuse to leave the base. Looking at Xinglai's hurriedly leaving back, Lin Chen poked Jiangxia with his finger and asked, isn't your family just a family conflict? You told me about it a long time ago. Mecha took a deep breath of air. Here, the internet of Jianmeng Empire is still discussing VR cabins, and the popularity is unprecedented. Even many people have been sitting in front of the computer all night and still can't figure it out. Why is VR cabin only sold in Wang's Empire? Why is there no place to sell it in Jianmeng Empire? I really want to go to Wang's Empire to buy a VR cabin, but I'm afraid it's a waste of time and they won't sell it to me. I don't think we will be able to buy it in our lifetime. I heard that it is almost popular in Wang's Empire, but we are staring at the computer every day. I'm so angry. If I have such a VR cabin, I guess the little girl next door will wait for me to tell her a story. There was a heated discussion on the internet, and it was hard to hide the desire for VR cabins. The VR cabin that I had been looking forward to for a long time, but in the end, I couldn't even buy a VR cabin. Pussy sat in front of the computer, watching all kinds of hot discussions and desires on the internet, and suddenly he was a little shaken. Because it was an era of developed internet, over time, many forces knew about it. So one force after another called, these were all allies of the Jianmeng Empire. Now they are all worried that the Jianmeng Empire will suddenly abandon its allies and fly alone. Faced with many skeptical attitudes, Pussy immediately said hard. We're allies, don't think too much. Fuck, you idiots, our Jianmeng Empire always means what it says, and we will never abandon our allies under any circumstances. Pussy said every word righteously. However, at night, the hot discussions on the internet continued. New game video content is transmitted all the time, and the people at the Jianmeng Empire are jealous and crazy. Why can't the Jianmeng Empire have such a good thing? It seems that a voice is ringing in my heart all the time. I want to play. I'm about to cry because I want to play. Internet celebrity Chris expressed his opinion very sourly. I believe that it won't be long before we can buy that VR cabin. Suddenly, thousands of peaks were stirred up. Fuck, it's been 2 weeks. By the time we buy it, the people in the Wang's Empire will probably be tired of it. We want to play that VR cabin today, we want to fight monsters today. My sister is crying with envy. The heated discussion continued. Pussy looked at the discussions on major social platforms, sat in a chair in silence for a long time, and finally had to make a major decision. Fuck those allies, I can't lead you, now I have to fly alone. Bye. He called the Minister of the Interior and boasted, "We want to call on the world to build a beautiful home together. And we want to lead by example. The people will definitely be satisfied with such an effect. Okay, I'll go hold a press conference now." The Minister of the Interior immediately understood what Pussy meant. So an emergency press conference was held. At the meeting, Pussy first spoke to the reporters, and then changed his tone. Lin Chen said, "The world is everyone's world, so we should build a beautiful home together, and the Jianmeng Empire will lead by example." The reporter from the Yin country was shocked. Why did he always feel that something was wrong? The reporter from the Sanhan country asked, "How will your country lead by example?" "Of course, we will first introduce a batch of VR cabins from the Wangxin Empire." Pussy smiled, "These are the wishes of the people, there is no way." The reporters collectively vomited blood, and were completely speechless about this old thing. But just when Pussy said this, the speed of the spread of this news was the fastest news in the Jianmeng Empire, and it quickly set off an uproar in the Jianmeng Empire. "What, have you heard? We're about to introduce a batch of VR cabins. I am so happy that I am crying. Woohoo!" After hearing the news, my sister took off all her clothes and ran out to celebrate. I couldn't stop her. "Does your sister upstairs have 2 roses tattooed on her chest? I just saw her celebrating with a group of beauties on the roadside." "Oh, fuck, how do you know she has a rose tattooed on her chest? Your sister is not wearing any clothes." This is definitely a news that everyone should celebrate. Countless people are excited. Yin country. One of the allies of the Jianmeng Empire, and the first to respond to the call. The emperor of the country is enjoying a golden bubble bath in a bathhouse. As a result, just at the most critical moment, the Minister of Foreign Affairs rushed in. The Minister of Foreign Affairs reported, "Jianmeng Empire suddenly abandoned its allies, and vowed to build a beautiful home together." Bastard. This old guy Pussy is sincerely preparing to play Infernal Affairs with us, right? Please recommend. Our ranking seems to have risen, but it actually fell. Really, the author has never been in the top 5 of the free list. I would like to ask all brothers and sisters to help the author. Thank you very much. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novel, as there you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 65. I was so scared. The Emperor of Yindu couldn't stop sneering. The old ghostopus had obviously pushed the other 6 countries into the fire pit. He was the initiator of curbing the Wangxin Empire. He had said something righteous before, such as sticking to the front line and resolutely curbing the development of the Wangxin Empire. But damn, that old ghost suddenly became a trade ally of the Wangxin Empire. Bagger, that old bastardopus. What should we do? Asked the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Of course, we should loosen the trade blockade against the Wangxin Empire. Without the Jianmeng Empire taking the lead, we are nothing. The Emperor of Yin kept cursing. The Minister of Foreign Affairs nodded and stood there, looking at the man and woman calmly. Why don't you leave? The Emperor of Yin was angry. Wait for you. Go out first, wait 3 minutes, I want to do it again. The Emperor of Yin said. 3 minutes. The Minister of Foreign Affairs was shocked. He didn't expect His Majesty to be so weak. No wonder the Queen always went to the Minister of Internal Affairs, that old man. Get lost. The Emperor of the Yin Kingdom was completely furious. He also wanted to use ours as a unit, but unfortunately he did not have the strong body of the Wangxin man. After receiving the news, some former allies of the Jianmeng Empire, such as the Sanhan Kingdom and the Xinjia Kingdom, hurriedly held a press conference and announced the reduction of import and export taxes on the Wangxin Empire. Because of what the Jianmeng Empire did, the Wangxin Empire must have hated everyone. So far, the strategy of the Jianmeng Empire to contain the Wangxin Empire has been broken. The global trade order has returned to its previous state, and goods between countries have begun to circulate again. But the VR cabin is still attacking. Here, the Wangxin Empire. Since the products of the empire cannot be circulated overseas, the empire has begun to have factories on holiday. But today, after receiving the world's major trading economies to reduce import and export tax rates again, various factories have also begun to open one after another, so that the people of the empire cheered continuously. Finally, it's a circulating commodity, otherwise our company would have closed down. It's time to go to work, it's time to go to work. Thank you, Professor Lin, for making the VR cabin. If it weren't for the VR cabin, countries around the world would still be blocking us. It's a pity that I heard that Professor Lin only likes cold and hard Mechas. I, a sweet and soft girl, can only admire myself. Shocked, it turns out that Professor Lin is a cold knight. This news is exciting. After the people of the empire were overjoyed, even the central government of the Wangxi Empire felt the excitement from the people. To be honest, if it weren't for the VR cabin that made the people of the Jianming Empire march wildly, the economy of the Wangxi Empire might have never recovered from then on. For this reason, the central government of the Wangxi Empire held a meeting to prepare for the next stage. At the meeting, Jiangming Jiwan Group and Yangming Group, represented by Queen Jifu, put aside their conflicts and united to face the outside world. After consultations between Yangming and Jifu, in accordance with Jiangxi's intention, the VR cabin was finally sold for 100,000 yuan per set, and there would be identity fees and game fees in the future. So, one order after another was issued from the center of the empire, and VR cabins began to be circulated overseas to expand the influence of the empire and recover the economic losses of the previous period. When the Wangxi Empire was in full swing, the base was also not idle. The students were training hard every day, but Lin Chen saw a clue. These students didn't take the monsters seriously, right? They even had a kind of arrogance, thinking that even if the monsters came, they could definitely kill the monsters with one person and one machine. These people didn't realize the horror of monsters and the cruelty of the battle. Among these people, the son of the pig farm, Yi Chuan, and the big-breasted girl Liu were the most. So Lin Chen made a monster database, ready to let these students realize the horror of monsters. The monster data was loaded into the driving simulation cabin. Yi Chuan asked, "Professor Lin, what is this?" "The monster database, to prevent you from lacking practical experience," Lin Chen said. The students were all shocked. "Can we fight monsters in the driving simulation cabin? If we can really fight monsters, I can still fight monsters with my feet like cutting melons and vegetables. I've waited for this day for too long. TSK, you are just a bunch of noobs. Finally, we can fight monsters. We train every day, but we don't know how many hundreds of monsters we can kill with our strength." These students were so excited that they wanted to rush into the driving simulation cabin and fight monsters to the ends of the earth. Lin Chen watched them pretending to be cruel, hoping that they would not be scared to death when they went in to fight monsters. Soon, the monster database was fully loaded. Lin Chen waved his hand and said, "Everyone go in and conduct actual combat simulation training." So all 60 students entered the driving simulation cabin, excitedly preparing for the journey of fighting monsters. But less than a moment later, there were bursts of shrill screams and screams in the driving simulation cabin, and they were all scared to death. I'm scared to death. Oh my god, it's so scary. It's so scary, big and strong, and purple-red, so disgusting. A girl was originally excited to do something big, but in the real scene of the driving simulation cabin, a group of huge lizard beasts and double-winged lizard beasts suddenly appeared, and she was scared and retreated immediately. Yi Chuan, the son of the pig farm, was driving a mecha with a serious malfunction of the double-wing thruster. Seeing that the monster was about to rush over, he could not escape. So he quickly transformed into a human form, waving a sword while shouting miserably, swing the sword with despair. In less than 5 minutes, all 60 students were pale and stood outside the driving simulation cabin in horror, gasping for breath. What about fighting monsters like cutting melons and vegetables? What about being able to knock monsters upside down at the beginning, but in the end, they were all killed by the monsters in seconds? Lin Chen said calmly, "You are all not strong, but you are all the first in pretending to be cool. Students, we'll practice like this in the future. Although it's just data, it's no different from real monsters. The best training is comparable to real battles," Lin Chen said. He knew that these people knew what they should know, and what they lacked now was practical experience. Big-breasted girl Elsa asked, "Professor, tell me, where did you get your unparalleled driving experience?" When she asked this, everyone looked at Lin Chen curiously. "I practiced it." Lin Chen's expression was very indifferent. What did he practice? That was the driving expertise rewarded by the system. There was a dead silence all around, and everyone was thinking about what was missing between them and Lin Chen. Just when the students were wondering if they were too stupid, Elsa's excited voice suddenly burst out, shouting, "I know, Professor Lin definitely doesn't have a girlfriend. Could that be the legendary Karinam?" Everyone was embarrassed. What the hell is the Karinam? They all felt like a group of grass mud horses were galloping over their heads. Please vote. Please vote. Brothers and sisters, whether this book can knock the top 5 free list down depends on all the excellent drivers. Chapter 66, The Daily Training as the Terrifying Killer. Lin Chen took a deep look at the big-breasted girl Aya. What the hell is the Kalinam? Why did she suddenly get so excited that she couldn't close her legs after talking about the Kalinam? Here, the Jianmeng Empire. Pussy sat in his office and sighed for a while. The great opportunity to curb the development of the Wang's Empire was gone in vain. Fuck, our people are just a bunch of idiots. Pussy was completely speechless. He really couldn't compare the people of the two empires. When the monsters in the Wang's Empire were about to attack, the people evacuated the city in an order comparable to a textbook exercise. On the other hand, the people of his own Jianmeng Empire were demonstrating when the monsters attacked the city. They would demonstrate whenever they were dissatisfied. In the end, they almost rushed into the Emperor's palace and took themselves to the police station. Pussy grabbed his hair with both hands, looking depressed. It was really fucking awesome. Not long after, the Minister of Foreign Affairs walked into the office and said in a deep voice, "Since we suddenly resumed trade relations with the Wang's Empire, the attitudes of the 6 countries towards us have become subtle, and it seems that there is a hint of hostility." Pussy remained silent, his face uncertain. "Just a bunch of little bastards want to mess with the Jianmeng Empire. They are really tired of living. Should we give a warning?" asked the Minister of Foreign Affairs. "It seems that our terrorist killer should be unveiled, so that countries and people all over the world will live under the shadow of our Jianmeng Empire." Pussy's voice was very deep, and the urge to show off became stronger. At this time, the more hostile other countries are to the Jianmeng Empire, isn't it a good opportunity to slap those countries in the face? Cool. Once the terrorist killer is displayed, won't they all come to lit the Jianmeng Empire? The Minister of Foreign Affairs was shocked. He looked at Pussy in disbelief. Is he crazy? That is the secret weapon of the Jianmeng Empire, which is displayed in critical moments to shock the world, or displayed to assist monsters when monsters attack. But this old man Pussy actually used the terrorist killer as a weapon to show off. Why, do you have any objections? Pussy was a little dissatisfied. I think that showing the terrorist killer now cannot maximize the benefits. It is not worth it just to shock the countries, said the Minister of the Interior. Pussy nodded, thinking that what the other party said was very reasonable. When the monster appeared, if the terror killer became famous in one battle, it would not only shock all the countries, but also make the people of Jianmeng Empire proud. Maybe he could also destroy Wang's Empire. Thinking of this, Pussy was looking forward to when the monster would appear. Later, he put down the things at hand and came to the research institute with the Minister of the Interior. Not long after, they arrived at the research institute. Pussy asked the person in charge, "How is our terror killer?" "Very good, it is about to be mass-produced, and our drivers already have skilled driving experience." The person in charge took Pussy and the Minister of the Interior to the training ground. In the huge training ground, 30 terror killers were still running and flying wildly. Seeing this scene, Pussy was stunned. Is this the content of the training? Of course our training content is not like this. Look at those targets with monsters painted on them. The content of our terror killer training is to rush or fly over at the fastest speed and tear up those targets with monsters painted on them. The person in charge introduced. It's called target shooting. The person in charge added. Pussy nodded, watching the 30 horror killers tear the target with the monster painted on it into countless pieces, and subconsciously said, "Oh, fuck." He couldn't help but complain on the spot. But there was nothing to complain about. He couldn't catch a monster and bring it back for the Empire's pilots to practice, right? Now he just hoped that when the monster appeared next time, the monster would stand still like a target, so that the pilots could attack as much as they wanted. Don't worry, the horror killer is just our first generation of mecha. Our second generation of mecha has made relevant progress, and it is a real humanoid mecha. The person in charge laughed. Pussy was surprised and happy. Now the humanoid mecha has become his obsession. If he doesn't feel super sour every day watching the mecha video of the Wang's Empire, he feels that he can't sleep. But now the second generation of mecha has made progress again. At this rate, it seems that it is not impossible for the Mecha of the Jianmeng Empire to surpass the Mecha of the Wangzi Empire in a short time. Suddenly, Pussy's urge to show off rose again. At the time, we must invite the prominent people from all countries to visit Jianmeng Empire. Oh, by the way, we must invite the scientist named Lin Chen. Let him know how stupid it is to refuse the invitation of Jianmeng Empire, and at the same time let him realize the horror of Jianmeng Empire's Mecha. It's so mad. The next day, a ship carrying 200,000 sets of VR cabins arrived at the port of Jianmeng Empire at 10 o'clock in the morning. After distribution and transportation, major cities soon began to prepare for sales. At noon, the door of the VR cabin specialty store was already crowded with people, and the scene was chaotic. Fuck, VR cabins must be God's gift to us. Get out of here, I want to be the first to buy it. Guys, VR cabins are the witness of our freedom. The damn old ghost pussy finally had to compromise with our free people. I want a pentakill. Pentakill. Such a great equipment is a waste for the people of Wangzi Empire. The long-awaited VR cabin finally has a place to sell, so everyone is unwilling to be outdone, and they all want to be the first to buy a VR cabin and go home to experience it quickly. Pentakill in the game, Spray Tower Q. At this time, the salesperson of the VR cabin store just opened the door and saw a dark mass outside. He was shocked and closed the door immediately. It was terrible. He completely underestimated how uncultured the people of Jianmeng Empire were. After the store manager asked about the whole story with a dark face, he immediately opened the window and shouted loudly, "Queue up, no queue, no sale." With a crash, 2 long lines appeared in a very short time. For the VR cabin, I enjoyed it. If it were in the past, the free people of Jianmeng Empire would definitely pull out the Fuangs and run inside and beat them up. A black guy was the first in the line. 100,000. The store manager glanced at him and pointed at the sign behind him. Wangzhenren and Jianmeng people have always disliked each other, so the store manager's attitude is indifferent and not enthusiastic at all. Oh, fuck, what a damn indifferent attitude, you bunch of vampires. Isn't the VR cabin only sold for a few thousand yuan in the Wangzi Empire? Why did you sell it to me for 100,000 yuan? I'm going to sue you for consumer fraud. The little black guy roared again and again. That's the price, buy it or not. The store manager looked contemptuous. Fuck you, you despicable Wangzhen. The black guy was furious. At this time, the people in the queue behind him suddenly couldn't stand it, shouting, "Poor bastard in front, are you going to buy it or not? If not, get out of here. I have plenty of money. I'll buy 2 and take 1 back, 1 for fun and 1 for sleeping." Brothers and sisters, please, vote or reward. The author will accept everyone, and the result will be announced next Monday. The life and death of this book in the future depends on your support now. Chapter 67. If not now, when? Furious. The young man glared at the store manager. He had been waiting for a long time, but he was cheated by these hateful vampires. The store manager said with a dark face, "The reason why the Wangzi Empire is cheap is because there is a subsidy. If you don't have a subsidy, of course it will be 100,000 yuan. I will tell you again with great mercy that it costs money to verify the identity of the VR cabin, and it also costs money to download games. This is almost asking for money openly." As soon as he said this, an uproar immediately set off a huge uproar. People looked at the store manager in disbelief. "What do you mean the VR cabin is 100,000 yuan? The reason why it is cheap in the Wangzi Empire is because they have subsidies. Why don't we have subsidies? Didn't we agree that it was only a few thousand yuan?" Sour, very sour, everyone was sour, and contained emotions such as jealousy. Such a good thing is totally unaffordable. So angry. So except for a few wealthy families who happily bought the VR cabin, most people could only stare blankly. That night, the VR cabin began to be discussed again on the internet. For example, vampires, fraud, sugar-coated bullets, etc. The VR cabin that we expected was originally prepared for the rich. If you don't have money, don't even think about it. Fuck, we fell into a trap. It turns out that the VR cabin is prepared for the rich. But I still want to play it. Woo, 100,000 yuan, and the subsequent expenses will cost more. It's not something that we ordinary people can play at all. Why is it so expensive? The internet is hotly discussed again. The last time it was hotly discussed why there was no place to sell it, but this time it was hotly discussed that they couldn't afford it. At this time, some players with a financial foundation did not pay attention to the things on the internet after purchasing the VR cabin, and entered the VR cabin excitedly. Poor people still want to play high-tech things? Go to hell. In the game. Pinching the face. Pinching the height. These don't exist at all. The anchor of a certain platform, Chris, not only wants to show his superiority in the real world, but also in the game world. First, take advantage of the popularity, and then let everyone know what kind of legendary figure this anchor is. Therefore, the character created in the game is a replica of himself, and even the ID name is his own name, the network anchor Chris. As soon as he entered the game, Chris immediately enjoyed the most enthusiastic exclamation. Everyone, look, this doesn't seem to be a player from our side. Because the VR cabin of the Wang's Empire has a natural advantage for the people, anyone can afford it, so the number of people is number one. So the global servers where he is located are all overwhelmed, and countless Wang's Empire players are rushing in frantically. Chris sneered, skipped the novice tutorial and directly entered a transport plane, ready to kill all around and create a legend in the live broadcast industry. Just when he was about to do something big, he suddenly realized that something seemed to be wrong. Why are all the players so harmonious? After a glance, he was immediately shocked. On the transport plane, the players on the 3 layers inside and outside all looked at him with ill intentions. Anchor Chris. He was immediately shocked. I felt that I had come to the wrong place. Why are there all Wangzhen players, but not a single Jianmeng player? This scene is like a pure girl falling into a perverted building, feeling helpless and uneasy about her fate. Later, the online anchor Chris turned a gunfight game into an escape game. The public screen of the global server is still scrolling. The anchor named Chris just got off the plane in the 6th server and was chased and hammered by tens of thousands of players. The big anchor Roos ran to the 98th server. No, Chris ran to the 99,999 server. Everyone chase him together, don't let him run away. As expected, Chris really became a legendary anchor in the live broadcast industry. Anchor Chris finally exited the VR cabin with a dark face. What a shitty game, the experience is extremely poor. That night, the internet was generally full of complicated thoughts about the VR cabin. They wanted it, but were annoyed that the price was too expensive and they couldn't afford it at all. Overnight, the VR cabin that was originally expected quickly became a luxury item for the people. So jealous. Here, Pussy also saw the heated discussion of the people. Great, they actually sold things to us at such a high price. This is simply looking down on us. Pussy thought about it and felt that the Mega Horror Killer should be unveiled, otherwise everyone would think that the Jianmeng Empire was easy to bully. He called the Minister of Foreign Affairs with a dark face and roared hysterically. Fuck, why can't our people afford the VR cabin? Remember that our brave Jianmeng people are not afraid of anything. Announce the news of the Horror Killer to me tomorrow. Pussy was full of confidence. With 30 well-trained horror killers, Mechas, equipped with super weapons, he was not afraid of anything. After receiving Pussy's roar, the Minister of Foreign Affairs thought again and immediately arranged for people to prepare for the proper matters. This is definitely a major event that shocked the world. The appearance of 30 horror killers, Mechas, will make everyone realize the horror of the Jianmeng Empire. At the same time, deep in the seabed that had been quiet for several months, the channel connecting the different dimensions began to move. One after another, huge monsters rushed out from the bottom of the sea, a total of 8. Heading in 2 directions respectively, Wang's Empire and Jianmeng Empire. And no one knew about all this yet. The next day, Pussy asked the Minister of Foreign Affairs in a deep voice, "Are the matters ready?" "Yes." Pussy showed a happy expression and said, "Issuing a notice now, let our terror killer, Mecha, debut simultaneously around the world the day after tomorrow. If it doesn't debut now, when will it debut?" So the Jianmeng Empire issued a notice. In order to defend world peace, the Jianmeng Empire's ultimate weapon Mecha will be unveiled simultaneously around the world the day after tomorrow, and 30 Mecha terror killers will debut collectively. And widely issued hero invitations, but all the well-known figures have more or less received invitations from the Jianmeng Empire to visit the debut of the terror killer, Mecha, on site. In short, it is a clear attitude of showing off one's power. After all, the Jianmeng Empire has a full 30 well-trained terror killers, Mecha, while the Wang's Empire only has 3 Mechas. What is there to compare? As soon as this news came out, the whole world was shocked and there was an uproar. Is Pussy willful again? Fuck, it's the Jianmeng Empire as expected. I just don't know which Mecha of the 2 empires is more powerful. Of course it's the Jianming Empire. They have 30 of them. There's no guarantee that they won't be mass-produced later. The whole world is talking about the Jianming Empire's Mechas. And the names of them Mechas sound so fierce. They must be very powerful Mechas. For a time, the leaders were optimistic about the Jianming Empire, and the 3 Mechas of the Wangzi Empire became ignored. After the Wangzi Empire received the global notice that 30 Mechas would be unveiled, the atmosphere immediately became serious. The original advantage is gone. Brothers and sisters, please support me. The author is in a lot of trouble. 2 chapters have been blocked again. He smiled bigly. Tomorrow the author is determined to update 3 chapters. If there is one less chapter, I will show my power. Please support me. Chapter 68. Is this also considered a mecha? Author's words. The previous chapter was blocked. Please forgive me for the inconvenience in reading. The Wangzi Empire is just worried. The Jianming Empire first confiscated all the VR cabins, and then showed the mega horror killer to the world at this time. The other party is obviously coming with great momentum, using their mecha to intimidate other countries, and finally let their people get unprecedented pride. The timing of the appearance of this mecha is perfect, killing 3 birds with 1 stone. So the core members of the Wangzi Empire once again visited the JIJ city base. Apart from this, the Empire really can't come up with any capital to compete with the Jianming Empire. Why are you all here? Lin Chen drank tea, looking very natural. The people on the opposite side all looked worried. The Jianming Empire's mecha is about to be unveiled, and suddenly there are 30 of them. Jifu's face was not very good. We have some too. Lin Chen looked indifferent. Don't we only have 3? We are completely defeated in terms of quantity, and the name of the Jianming Empire's mecha is very fierce. Oh. Lin Chen was not in a hurry at all. You really disappoint the Empire. Yan Ming's voice also became impatient. All the resources of the Empire were given to the base, and any fights were deliberately avoided by Lin Chen. In order to take care of his emotions, even Jingshi was protected, but Lin Chen was passive and negligent. Lin Chen glanced at them and was about to say something. But suddenly, the voice of the control room came to his ears. Report to Professor Lin, all the Mechas are being transported to the runway in the elevator shaft, and designated training will be carried out soon. You can carry out takeoff training. Lin Chen gave the order. The monitoring in the command room was also synchronized, and the screen clearly showed that on the runway of the base, a brand new mecha appeared from the elevator shaft on the flight deck. Suddenly, the conference room where Lin Chen was located became quiet, and the mouths of the core members of the Empire had turned into naught, looking at the scene in front of them in disbelief. Why did so many Mechas suddenly appear? Didn't they say there were only 3? The screen showed many navigators appearing, and the sound of the control sounded. All aircraft are ready to depart. The passage has been cleared. The Jinlong has taken off. The Panlong has taken off. The Zhenlong has taken off. The Xianglong has taken off. Whoosh! A total of 18 whoosh sounds. 18 Mechas flew out of the base and carried out designated training in the designated airspace. 18 Mechas soared in the sky, densely packed, giving people a shocking visual and powerful impact. In the conference room, Lin Chen's eyes moved away from the screen and asked, "What did you say just now?" Everyone. Didn't they say that there were only 3 Mechas at the moment? But now there are suddenly 18 Mechas, and all of them flew out. Yan Ming's face was embarrassed, and he asked, "How familiar are these pilots with Mechas?" The core of the Empire didn't know that the base already had a driving simulator, a proper brushing experience. And it was because of the appearance of the driving simulator that the trainees were almost growing up in the battle with monsters every day. Lin Chen took them directly to the driving simulation training place and said, "What is lacking now is psychological quality. Each of them has to experience at least one real battle every day." The core members of the Empire looked at the driving simulation cabin and were immediately shocked. This is a real training. It is also the most effective training. From the side monitoring, it is learned that the students inside are fighting the most intense battle with the monster. Everyone has different thoughts. In short, the rise of this young man can no longer be stopped in the future. It can be said that every mecha pilot will become his direct line in the future. Thinking of the biggest dark horse suddenly coming out halfway, Yan Ming and Jifu felt that they were about to be in so much pain that they couldn't breathe. The next day, the Jianming Empire began to send invitations to the world. Celebrities from all forces and all walks of life have all received it. In order to curry favor with Pussy, there are not a few who enter the Jianming Empire as soon as possible, and those who can't get away also appointed their confidants to go. The number of people going to the Jianming Empire is as high as 99.9% of those who receive the notice. Even Lin Chen received an invitation from the other side of the ocean. Content. Dear Professor Lin Chen, our Jianming Empire is eager for you to arrive on time tomorrow to witness the miracle of the world with us and the birth of the world guardian. I'll go to hell. Lin Chen said to himself. He would not be so idle as to go to Jianming Empire to see the horror killer, Mecha, because he has many things to do. Conventional weapons are always far-fetched to fight monsters, so he began to prepare to completely perfect the Mecha. At present, there are 3 directions for the Mecha to be completely perfected. Only after perfection can the Mecha be regarded as a true weapon of God. The 3 directions are particle beam gun, particle beam knife, and particle barrier. On this day, Lin Chen was drawing design drawings and data diagrams, and the thick drafts covered the entire laboratory. In Jianming Empire. After a day, the much-anticipated moment finally arrived. On this day, Pussy spent an hour to tidy up his appearance. Pussy, who was full of confidence, will naturally not miss any opportunity to promote the strength of Jianming Empire. All satellites are dispatched. All signals are given to all countries for free. All major TV stations around the world are broadcasting simultaneously. On this day, almost half of the audience around the world were preparing to watch the Mecha killers of the Jianming Empire. The scene was so large that it could be called a legend in history. Judging from the scene, it was far ahead of the war fortress that Lin Chen had unveiled. In the future, the history of the Jianming Empire will be written by the great Pussy. Pussy was in a good mood. He smiled proudly at the crowded people in the square. At this moment of witnessing history, he announced, "Now please invite our Mecha troops, the Terror Killer, to appear." The scene suddenly became quiet. A serious atmosphere once filled the entire square. Not long after, the ground began to make noises, and then 30 Mecha killers appeared together. This scene alone shocked the whole audience. Strictly speaking, the Mechas of the Jianming Empire are indeed terrifying. Each Mecha is 16 meters high, with 4 sharp blade-like pointed feet. Every time it moves, it will dig deep into the ground. It is conceivable that such a group of behemoths will cause a great sense of shock. Every time they move, they are destroying the audience's mouth subconsciously turned into a knot shape. What? Is this also considered a Mecha? The Mechas of the Wang's Empire are real humanoid Mechas, while these terrifying killers, Mechas, of the Jianming Empire don't look humanoid at all. Please vote and reward. Our book ranking is almost gone. The author is pagan. Thank you. Chapter 69. I feel so low. However, they are really terrifying. Judging from the appearance of the cards, they have already surpassed the Mechas of the Wang's Empire. Because the Mechas of the Wang's Empire not only meet people's aesthetics but also have unparalleled power, while the actual performance of the Mechas of the Jianming Empire is still unknown, but they are worthy at the name of the horror killer, and they are really terrifying, whether in appearance or the power to destroy the ground. At this moment, the people at the Jianming Empire are excitedly holding the TV and shouting, "We finally have our own Mechas in the Jianming Empire. Long live Pussy, we must apply to build a great statue of the male god of freedom for Pussy. Cool, our Mechas will definitely blow up the monsters." The people are proud. What VR cabin? It's all bullshit. In front of the Empire's Mechas, all the VR cabins are just a pile of garbage. On this day, the confidence of the Jianming Empire is back, and it has once again become the free and beautiful Jianming Empire. In the capital square of the Jianming Empire, under the attention of thousands of people, everyone has different thoughts, and most people are thinking about how to curry favor with Pussy. Yan Ming, who was standing beside Pussy, frowned. He was invited here, but he was a little hesitant after seeing these tall and mighty terrorist killers. These Mechas don't seem to be able to fly. Hey, my dear Ang, what do you think of these Mechas? Pussy smiled and showed off proudly. Only the Jianming Empire and the Wang's Empire had Mechas in the whole venue, and there was no mention of the seized VR cabin. That Pussy, your Mechas don't seem to be able to fly. Yan Ming's expression was indifferent. Pussy had obviously expected it. He winked at the Minister of the Interior, who understood it immediately. Lin Chen said, "Now let our Mechas show their flight." Then, the huge turbines under the abdomens of the 30 terrorist killers began to rotate and slowly took off. Yan Ming was shocked. Not only was he shocked, but the audience in the whole venue and even the whole world were shocked. These 16-meter Mechas can actually fly. Oh my god, it looks like the Mechas of the Jianming Empire are going to be invincible. With so many Mechas that can fly, the advantage of the Wangzi Empire will be gone. As expected of the Jianming Empire, it's awesome. Amid the exclamations of the people, Pussy smiled triumphantly and said to Yang Ming, "How do you feel?" Yang Ming remained silent and did not say anything. But the show had to continue. Pussy wanted the whole world to remember that today belonged to the great Jianming Empire. The Minister of the Interior continued to announce, "Let our Mecha Horror Killers show how to kill monsters." With that, almost everyone looked at the Mecha Horror Killers in disbelief. People suddenly realized a very serious problem. The monsters had not appeared for several months. Could it be that they were all captured and kept in captivity by the Jianming Empire? A series of shocks. Then, just as people were looking around, a dense toot sound came from the sky, and several helicopters dropped several targets with monsters painted on them and flew away quickly. The 30 Mechas rushed up like a pack of wolves and tore the targets with monsters painted on them into pieces. Global audience. As expected of the Jianming Empire. Really strong. Unprecedented publicity, and as a result, a few targets were announced to be monsters. Do you usually use these targets for training? Yang Ming couldn't help asking. Of course, if we don't use targets for training, what do we use? Pussy looked contemptuous and sarcastic. The reason why the pilots in the Mecha Horror Killer are so outstanding is that they are trained with these targets. The garbage Wangzi Empire doesn't understand the real training method of Mechas at all. Yang Ming looked like he was about to say something but stopped. He felt that the Jianming Empire's Mechas were trained with targets, which was really low. He thought about it and finally chose to remain silent. Forget it, let's not hit Pussy, give him some face. Later, the performance ended. Pussy held an unprecedented press conference on the spot, and this time there were audiences all over the world witnessing it. May I ask what is the purpose of the great Jianming Empire to manufacture Mechas? The reporter of the Jianming Empire spoke first. Of course it is to defend world peace. Eliminate monsters. At this moment, Pussy was almost unable to resist and wanted to give an unprecedented speech in front of the global audience. Such a sentence inspired countless people in Jianming Empire. Look, this is the style of the empire. They will never associate with the evil Wangzi Empire. They even sold VR cabins at high prices. What else can they not dare to do? At this time, a reporter from Wangzi Empire asked, "Excuse me, the Mecha of Wangzi Empire has already hit 2 records of annihilating monsters, and your country's Mecha has just been unveiled. Is the actual performance of the Mecha Horror Killer worrying?" The damn Wangzi reporter dared to question the great Mecha Horror Killer. Pussy's face was not very good. He felt that he could no longer keep a low profile, otherwise the jumping clowns of Wangzi would always come out from time to time to show their presence. He said confidently, "To be honest, the performance of our Mecha is ahead of the times. Even if a monster appears now, our excellent pilots can drive the Mecha and tear the monster to pieces. Moreover, our Mecha is equipped with super weapons, and it is no problem to kill monsters in seconds." For Pussy, at this time, in short, it is all about pretending. Anyway, the monster has not appeared for several months. In order to show off, he just boasted. So much so that the people of Jianming Empire believed his eloquent boasting. After all, the great Pussy boasted without any flaws. In the end, in order to prove it, he specially asked the driver to come out and cooperate with him to boast. "Our Mecha will become a legend in the world. Ha! One of our Mechas can blow up all the Mechas of Wangzi Empire. My poor Wangzi Empire, I heard that there are only 3 Mechas so far, and we already have 30. Our Mechas are just to let them attack first, they may not be able to beat us." Pussy's unfounded bold words infected all the people of Jianming Empire. Many people saw Pussy's confident and calm demeanor, and immediately felt that they were full of power, and they had endless confidence in their hearts. What monsters, what Mechas of Wangzi Empire, that is already in the past. Now the Mecha terrorist killers of Jianming Empire are the protagonists of this world. The strong self-confidence of Jianming Empire quickly exploded. After the display of Mechas, a dance party was held in the largest hotel in Jianming capital that night. Each terrorist killer, mech, has 2 drivers, so the 60 drivers are undoubtedly the most eye-catching focus of the ball. Countless socialites and wealthy ladies looked at the drivers frequently, as if they were particularly interested in their driving skills. But in this warm atmosphere, Pussy received a phone call and left in a hurry. Not long after layers of authentication, he came to the commander's office. Seeing the strangeness on the screen, he asked inexplicably, "What is that?" "That is the message from the sonar detection station we set up at sea," the staff said. In other words, Pussy's face gradually began to turn red. "Please support, brothers and sisters, the success of this book now depends on you. Thank you all. If the performance is good in the future, the author will live broadcast handstand typing with his feet." Chapter 70 Mysterious Self-Confidence. "Yes, it's a monster." "Great." Pussy was immediately excited. This time, the mega horror killer must make these abominable monsters have no way back. It is expected that 4 large monsters will arrive at our coastal city, Tulai City, tomorrow morning. The staff made an estimate. Pussy clenched his fists and was full of confidence in the mega horror killer, but he still ordered all the residents of Tulai City to evacuate. The opportunity for the Jianmeng Empire to become famous in one battle has come. This time, only success is allowed, not failure. The whole world will see that the mecha of the Jianmeng Empire is no worse than that of the Wangxin Empire. The monsters were not only detected by the Jianmeng Empire, but another wave of 4 monsters were also detected by the Wangxin Empire's marine sonar detection station. There was an atmosphere of facing a great enemy. According to the sonar detection station established at sea, 4 four-winged lizard beasts are approaching the Empire. The estimated arrival time is tomorrow afternoon. Lin Chen sat in silence in the command room. The intelligence just sent by the United Front Work Department said that this battle was a battle of Mechas, and they must become famous in one battle to let the Jianmeng Empire realize how ridiculous they are. It doesn't matter what happens to me, but the first battle for those new students may mean sacrifice. After all, this time there are 4 four-winged lizard beasts, monsters with diversified attacks. In a fierce battle, Lin Chen cannot always protect them. "Professor Lin, you are looking for us." At this time, 18 students with the best grades rushed into the command room. Lin Chen nodded and said, "From tomorrow, you will no longer be students, but formal mecha pilots." "What do you mean?" The students looked at each other and began to breathe quickly. "I won't hide it from you. After a few months, the monster finally appeared. I will give you a day off. Maybe I will lose some people in the battle tomorrow, so adjust your mentality." Lin Chen said. Are we going to fight tomorrow?" Everyone was ecstatic, but then they became nervous again. "Tomorrow will be a real battle, not a driving simulation cabin. Marong, you stay at the base tomorrow. Let Yi Chuan drive the Zhenlong. I will drive the Tianlong to lead you in the first battle tomorrow," Lin Chen said. "Yes." Everyone's voice was very loud. The central government of the empire was also preparing, but it was very low-key. There was no deliberate publicity or concealment. It just issued a notice to let the people of Linjiang City know that the monster will appear tomorrow. There is no need to worry. Just follow the arrangements. The people were very conscious and there was no commotion, as if the monster would not have any impact on them at all. The next morning, the alarm sounded in Tulai City of Jianmeng Empire. "Alarm, the whole city has activated the special danger plan. Everyone please evacuate Tulai City in advance." The message was broadcast over and over again. But the people of Tulai City were not panicked at all. They were just stunned for a moment, and then they were still doing what they should do. "Retreat! Retreat! I won't leave. What can the monster do to me? Oh, fuck, only cowards will evacuate. Our Mechas can easily tear the monsters into pieces. Are we afraid of monsters? Didn't Pussy say yesterday that our Mechas are equipped with super weapons, and it's no problem to kill monsters in seconds?" The people were not panicked at all. Because Pussy said yesterday that the mega horror killer can easily tear the monsters into pieces, and can even use super weapons to kill monsters in seconds. Of course, the people believed it. Could Pussy dare to brag in front of the global audience? So at the moment, the self-confidence of the people of Jianmeng Empire was overflowing, and they firmly believed that the mega horror killer would definitely make those monsters come and go. Evacuate Churi City. Only fools would evacuate, and they would definitely be ridiculed as cowards at the time. Yes, we must not evacuate. The brave Jianmeng people are not afraid of anything. The news that the monster appeared again spread all over the world in a very short time. For this reason, the confident Pussy immediately ordered all satellites to aim at Churi City. Let the audiences around the world witness the horror of the Jianmeng Empire. Once the satellite live broadcast was turned on, the number of viewers continued to rise, and eventually reached nearly 2 billion people. At this moment, 1 out of every 4 people will watch the Jianmeng Empire's satellite live broadcast. But when they saw the current situation of Talai City, the audience was stunned. The city where the monster was about to land was still bustling with traffic. Fuck, it's worthy at the Jianmeng Empire. The monster is coming soon, and they don't care at all. This must be because them Mechas are very powerful. So confident. Seeing this scene, Pussy was also stunned, and asked Minister Xiang dully, why didn't our people evacuate? Our people are now calling for a good voice. After your speech yesterday, they all believe that the Mecha horror killer can easily tear any monster into pieces. Pussy was stunned for a moment, and he had a bad premonition in his heart. If the 30 horror killers didn't tear the monster to pieces, the consequences of Talai City, oh my god, then I will be a sinner of the Jianmeng Empire. At this time, 4 giant monsters with 4 wings appeared from the sea level. The audiences around the world were silent. They were inexplicably nervous. Although the 30 terror killers were spectacular, they were just like the difference between a tiger and a rabbit compared to the 4 monsters. In the sight, the 4 monsters gave people a strong visual impact, and countless people swallowed their saliva subconsciously at the first sight. So big. The monster was really too big, and its hideous skin was deep purple red, and its long neck was like an ancient evil dragon. This made countless people both terrified and shocked. Our Mechas will definitely be able to destroy the monsters. At this moment, countless people in the Jianmeng Empire were forcibly cheering themselves up. And they kept comparing the advantages and disadvantages of the monsters and the terror killers in their hearts. The monsters were big and slow to react, but the terror killers were different. Every driver in them had excellent driving experience and was equipped with super weapons. So after a comparison, the people at the Jianmeng Empire were more relieved, feeling that it was just 4 monsters, not worth worrying about. At this time, on the southern coastline 10 kilometers away from Talai City, 30 mecha killers have been lined up and ready to destroy the monsters. Invisible gunpowder is spreading, and the war is about to break out. But the drivers inside are not nervous at all. On the contrary, they are still joking with each other using intercom headsets. They train every day on how to quickly tear the monsters to pieces, and this makes the 60 drivers of the 30 Mechas all have a mysterious confidence without exception. They even think that the superiors are too serious about the monsters and have sent all the Mechas out. What a shitty monster, there are only 4 of them, not to worry about. Apart from anything else, 1 killer is more than enough to deal with 4 monsters. At the moment, these most outstanding mecha pilots of the Jianmeng Empire don't take the monsters seriously at all. They are still bragging about their subsequent heroic performances, such as being remembered by the global audience, and becoming a legendary deed that people all over the world will never forget in their lives, etc. 3 more. 3 more tomorrow, but I beg you to keep your tickets. Chapter 71 Dawn Guardian Angel, please recommend. Hey, guys, you must give me a chance to show off later. I met 2 celebrities last night and I am just 1 step away from conquering them. After I kill the monsters, I will go and have fun with them. The monsters are just 4 paper tigers. Lin Wang's Empire's Mechas can kill monsters, and we can even kill them with the Mechas of Jianmeng Empire's terror killers. These 4 monsters are clearly here to give us points. Yesterday we showed our Mechas around the world, and today monsters are here to die. This must be God's arrangement. Hey, the monsters are out. Shall we let the monsters attack us? The mecha pilots in the terror killer were talking and laughing, completely ignoring the approaching monsters, and still joking. Even if they let the monsters attack us, what's the harm? Lin Wang's Empire's Mechas can easily dodge the attacks, and show off the monsters in various ways. These excellent pilots of the terror killer will definitely do better. At this time, the images transmitted by satellite were still being transmitted to the whole world, but the audiences around the world were staring at the TV in a daze. Why don't the Mechas of Jianmeng Empire go to fight? Is this the legendary steady old dog of Wang's Empire? Oh my god, the mecha pilots of Jianmeng Empire must have strong psychological qualities and are not afraid of danger. These mecha pilots are not afraid of danger, so strong, they beat the pilot of Wang's Empire who can only escape in various ways. This is as still as a mountain and as fast as a raging fire. The audiences around the world were full of doubts and various speculations, and finally determined that the pilots of those terrifying killers had super psychological qualities. At this time, Lin Chen and many pilots who had just been promoted from trainees were also watching the battle situation of Jianmeng Empire, but after waiting for a long time, the Mechas of others never moved from beginning to end. A group of pilots were puzzled at first as to why they wanted to see the Mechas of the Jianmeng Empire. Then they frowned deeply and pondered the meaning of this. Then they suddenly realized and said, "Professor Lin, we seem to understand. What do you understand? Jiangxi turned her head in confusion. Lin Chen, who was sitting on the side, also looked at them in surprise. Professor Lin is using the situation of the Jianmeng Empire to tell us that once the battle starts, we must learn from the pilots of the Jianmeng Empire and face the monsters without fear. Jiangxi and Lin Chen looked at each other. It seemed that their IQ was mercilessly mocked by these people. Damn, they just wanted to see the situation over there, that's all. Don't stand still like those two BS. Remember to run away if you can't beat them. Fight and run at the same time. What etiquette and dignity. Don't think that the whole world is watching. Running away is a shameful thing. Only by staying alive can we have a chance to destroy the monsters. Lin Chen's face straightened up and he quickly corrected these people's wrong views. It is the most unwise move to fight against the monsters. Making full use of the super mobility of the mecha to fight with it is to play to their strengths and avoid their weaknesses. Across the ocean, Pussy was also watching the images transmitted by the satellite, but his face suddenly changed. Why didn't Chase launch an attack? Fuck, you idiots, if you lose this battle, you will be blamed. Then he hurriedly issued an order to the mecha pilots, saying, why don't you idiots attack? Fuck, where are your fucking energy cannons? Get them out for me. Many pilots hurriedly operated like tigers. 30 horror killers, nearly 16 meters tall, each extending a barrel with a gleaming metal texture. It is very different from the known cannons. This cannon is a combination of power and technology, and the cannon body fully demonstrates the leading high-tech. That's right, this is the super weapon of the horror killer, the energy cannon, which uses the mysterious liquid extracted from the monster corpse's energy. The caliber of 500 mm, only one shot contains the power to destroy the world. The power is comparable to the attack of the double-winged lizard beast. It is precisely because of the horror killers and energy cannons that Pussy has unprecedented confidence. After seeing the terror killer of Jianmeng Empire showing his super weapon and aiming it at 4 monsters that were as fierce as mountains, the people of Jianmeng Empire immediately showed a state of fanaticism and madness. Oh my god, is this a super weapon? It's so thick. One shot can definitely kill the monster. I'm looking forward to our driver blowing the monster into pieces. This cannon is so shocking, it subverts the world of thermal weapons. What monsters, what Mechas of Wang's empire, what VR cabins, they are all things of the past. From now on, caliber is justice, super weapons are truth, terror killer maintains freedom, and world peace depends on Jianmeng Empire. Just when the monster was getting closer and closer to the terror killer of Mecha, the driver inside the terror killer finally moved. All energy cannons were aimed at a monster comparable to a mountain. Fire! The drivers conveyed the message one after another. There was a blue substance flashing at the muzzle of the energy cannon, like a series of brilliant blue arcs gathered together. The energy substance has been brewing for about 5 minutes. 30 blue beams were fired from the energy cannon. The color was extremely bright, spectacular and gorgeous. The incomparable energy beam hit a monster and burst into a dazzling blue light. Even in the daytime, even if it was a satellite live broadcast, people were still all frightened by the power of that energy cannon without exception, and subconsciously closed their eyes, causing temporary blindness. The light was too dazzling. At this moment, no matter who or what country, there was only one thought in their mind. What happened to the monster? If such a powerful attack frequency did not hurt the monster, then once these 4 monsters entered the city, it would be an unprecedented disaster. People's hearts have been raised to their throats, and they expected 30 Mechas to be generous and brilliant and destroy the monsters. When the dazzling blue light between heaven and earth dissipated, the eyes of the global audience returned to clarity, and they were all shocked when they watched the TV. The monster that was hit was injured. Although the injured monster was not fatally injured, this was the first time in history that a monster was truly injured since the monster appeared. The monster had no less than 7 or 8 wounds all over its body, and the blood dyed the beach red. Cool. Pussy smiled. Monsters will no longer pose a threat in the future. The people of Jianmeng Empire were even more encouraged and celebrated. These Mechas are the angels of our Jianmeng Empire. Yes, they are our dawn guardian angels. The ultimate move is holy light. Purify all evil forces. Ha! Our angels are much more powerful than the toy-like Mechas of the Wangxian Empire. We really injured the monsters from the front. The romance of Mechas is hard fighting. I look forward to our angels rushing up and tearing the 4 monsters into countless pieces. The terror killer gave countless strong men confidence, especially the residents of Talai City, who felt proud. Fortunately, they did not follow the arrangement to evacuate in advance, otherwise they would have been laughed at as cowards. Now there are 30 mecha terror killers. What do they have to be afraid of? Not to mention 4, even if 40 or 400 monsters appear, the mecha terror killers that are the incarnation of angels are enough to slaughter all the monsters. Yin. At this time, the long necks of the 4 monsters roared to the sky, and the sound seemed to tear the sky apart. The sound waves caused were felt even by the residents of Tulai City who were far away, and everyone in Tulai City almost fell to the ground. A feeling of powerlessness spread throughout the body. Because the roar of the monsters made people tremble in their hearts and numb their scalps. Brothers and sisters, it's time to support. It dropped to the 9th place in the new book overnight, and I can't see our book at all. Please, please, please. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novel, as there you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 72. How happy I was yesterday, how uncomfortable I feel now. Yes, the monsters are angry. Without any warning, they were injured by a group of inconspicuous little bugs. For a moment, the 4 monsters turned on the violent mode. They were violent and were about to destroy everything. Yin the monsters roared frequently, ready to attack. The bloody mouth had a reflex reaction, and the wings that covered the sky and the sun also had energy substances gathering. The driver shouted excitedly, "Hey, let's go together and tear up these 4 big guys, just like we usually train." All 30 terrifying killers slowly took off, using the super firepower of the energy cannon to attack, while preparing to use 4 sharp blades to tear up the monsters at close range. Everything was so easy and comfortable. Yin. The monster's bloody mouth launched a reaction to the critical point. A dark blue arc storm hit the 5 terrifying killers, exploding and killing them on the spot. Fire. The drivers woke up suddenly, and everyone showed a solemn look. This seems to be very different from the usual training. Shouldn't the monsters be waiting for the terror killers to rush up and tear them apart like targets? How come 5 terror killers were killed in seconds at the beginning? The atmosphere on the battlefield became serious for a while. Later, the energy cannons fired together, and the dazzling light continued for a while, all hitting a monster. Finally, a monster died. But the people of Jianmeng Empire no longer cheered as before, because there were only 14 terror killers left on the scene. As for the 16 terror killers, maybe the piles of broken copper and iron on the coast should be it. 14 mecha terror killers left against 3 monsters? The situation seems not good. Fuck, damn it, why can we tear the monster apart every time we train? Why doesn't it work now? A driver roared. He controlled the mecha and wanted to use the 4 sharp blades to pierce the monster's body, but was pulled by the monster and exploded in mid-air. The people of Jianmeng Empire did not blink an eye the whole time. Is this really our mega horror killer? Why is it so fragile? At this moment, everyone in the Jianmeng Empire felt a strong sense of uneasiness. Yin. 1 monster fell to the ground and lost its voice. The remaining 3 monsters, as big as mountains, went completely crazy. Their violent scarlet eyes were filled with cold, ruthless, manic and other negative emotions. Energy substances were gathering on its wings, and it was about to launch the spear like light feathers again. This move was almost a reaper for humans. Because it was this move that made the motorcycle mobile force that the Garka country was proud of only an empty frame. Now the 3 monsters launched those light feathers all over the sky to deal with the 14 horror killers. Can they dodge it? Chirp, chirp, chirp. The horror killers fought and retreated. Bang, 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 then they all blew up. Each light feather had a locking function, and it would cause an explosion whenever it hit the horror killer. It took a total of 10 minutes from the start of the battle, and the 30 horror killers were slaughtered by the monsters. And the monsters were 1 dead and 1 injured. The battle was so fast that the audience around the world was a little slow to react. Has the terror killer been completely wiped out? It's over, the disaster of the Jianmeng Empire has come. The remaining 3 monsters are in a frenzy, and their target is Tulai City. Oh, by the way, haven't the residents of Tulai City evacuated yet? Suddenly, the audience around the world realized a very scary problem, because the residents of Tulai City were full of confidence in the terror killer, so they didn't evacuate at all. Then, the monsters may arrive at Tulai City unimpeded in a very short time and greet the local residents enthusiastically. At this time, the Jianmeng Empire found it difficult to accept the reality and generally fell into a pessimistic mood. Impossible, our Mechas are the incarnation of angels, how could they be blown up by monsters? Fuck, it must be that old guy pussy who is behind it again. I'm a fool, I shouldn't believe Pussy's words. In the previous Borden City, Pussy told everyone to go home and sleep without worry, but the monsters killed everyone in Borden City that night. Now he said that the Mecha horror killers are invincible, but they were all blown up by monsters in less than half an hour. Every time he pretends to be cruel, we pay the price in the end. Countless people were angry, feeling that they were like fools living in wonderful lives every day, and being deceived by others. What can easily tear monsters to pieces? What super weapons can kill monsters in seconds? It's all the lies of that old guy Pussy. Once the monsters came, all the lies were exposed. At the time, Tulai City was already in chaos. The residents who were full of self-confidence panicked when they saw that the horror killers were all turned into scraps. Still not running? Are you waiting to be trampled into meat patties by the monster? Countless residents rushed to leave Tulai City. Behind them, the outlines of 3 huge monsters gradually became clear. The monster has reached the outskirts of Tulai City. Every time it moves, buildings will collapse and splash smoke and dust. The monster will also blindly attack buildings from time to time. The dark blue arc storm spewed out from its bloody mouth, and almost a row of buildings turned into a mess of ruins. The light feathers emitted by the mechanical winds were even more terrifying. Almost any building was pierced by it. The proud buildings were all turned into ruins. Wherever the monster passed, it almost involved the hearts of the local residents. The residents were all in tears, crying and running, not daring to stop. Yesterday they chose to believe Pussy's words, so they turned into strong men who were not afraid of anything, and each of them denounced the residents who evacuated Tulai City as cowards. But now, every time people think of this, their hearts are stabbed. A black man couldn't run anymore. He stopped and squatted on the ground, crying with his head in his hands, exhausted. Yinning baby Pussy's mood was not much worse than that of the residents of Tulai City. Whenever he saw the images from the satellite, he felt a chill on his spine. This time it was completely screwed. Oh, fuck. He gritted his teeth. The more excited he was yesterday, the more uncomfortable he felt now. Without the blocking of the terrorist killer, the monster has now entered Tulai City. Once Tulai City is completely reduced to ruins, the 3-headed monster will swagger all the way to destroy any nearby city. Pussy has seen how terrifying the destructive power of the monster is, and now there are 3 more advanced monsters at once. Oh my god. Pussy himself didn't dare to think about it anymore. Call the 10 legions of the Empire. Encircle and suppress these 3 monsters. Pussy gritted his teeth. It's not that I haven't thought about asking for help from the Mecha of the Wang's Empire, but I feel too embarrassed when I think about it. Do you want to be the second Lunamo? The Minister of the Interior sneered at him. Pussy stood there in a daze. Second update. I will unblock the chapter later. I will try my best to update the 3rd chapter today. Chapter 73 Mecha troops are dispatched. The words of the Minister of the Interior woke him up. Because Lunamo was willful and pretentious, he finally ruined the motorcycle mobile unit and a large city in vain. The current situation is almost exactly the same as that of the Kingdom of Gaka. If 10 legions were really mobilized to destroy the monster, Pussy broke out in a cold sweat. Even if the monster was destroyed, would the Jianmeng Empire still exist at the time? In fact, we still have 2 energy cannons, said the Minister of the Interior. All the energy cannons of 30 terrifying killers are gone. What's the use of 2? Pussy's face was ugly. It was almost impossible to mobilize the legions to fight monsters, and the lack of energy cannons would not be very useful. Pussy hesitated for half a minute. If he could get the Mecha assistance from the Wang's Empire, the disaster would be minimized, but if not, in an instant, he almost gritted his teeth and said, "Contact the Wang's Empire and ask for their Mecha support." This loss of face is unprecedented. First, they stopped people from selling VR cabins. Yesterday, they boasted about the invincibility of the terror killer. As a result, when the monster came, they had to ask other people's Mechas to come to help. Whenever Pussy thought of these, he felt depressed and wanted to vomit blood. The Minister of the Interior hurriedly contacted the Wang's Empire. After a while, he came back with a face full of resentment, and kept cursing fuck. Fuck, the Wang's Empire said that they also detected 4 monsters like ours, so we can talk about any conditions after the monsters are eliminated. Immediately transfer all our satellites to the Wang's Empire. Pussy's face was happy. The monster came too timely, and he could perfectly shirk all his responsibilities. The 30 invincible terror killers here are finished, and the 3 Mechas of the Wang's Empire can also fight 4 monsters. I don't believe it. Apart from anything else, it is a question whether their 2 new pilots can operate skillfully. The satellite of the Jianmeng Empire soon arrived over the Wangxi Empire and issued a notice. The 4 monsters are about to enter Linjiang city of the Wangxi Empire. At this moment, the audience around the world was stunned and did not react. Could it be that the monsters had read the art of war and would split into 2 groups? However, the news that monsters would appear in the Wangxi Empire was not very optimistic. 4 more large monsters are going to the Wangxi Empire. Not optimistic. Although they have 3 Mechas, it is still unknown whether 2 pilots can control them. I feel that the ending is not as good as that of the Jianmeng Empire. That's right, all the well-trained terrorist killer pilots are gone. With the Jianmeng Empire in front, 30 invincible terrorist killers are finished. The audience around the world generally does not think highly of the Wangxi Empire. At this moment, countless Wangxian roared unwailingly. A bunch of dogs, you underestimate us too much. Let me tell you, although we only have 3 Mechas, fighting monsters is as easy as cutting melons and vegetables. Go, mighty Inlong, you'll show off the monsters to the point that your scalp is numb. It feels much better after talking big. Countless Wangxian, who were worried in their hearts, then stared at the TV tightly. In sight, the seaside was calm, but it seemed too calm, as if a storm was about to come, and not even a seagull could be seen. There were no monsters yet, and even no Mechas. People began to speculate, what on earth were the Mechas doing, and why hadn't they come yet? Could it be that the Mecha's engine had burned out, or leaked oil? Here, inside the base, 18 Mechas had slowly risen to the runway. The monsters were expected to arrive in 3 hours. And Lin Chen was still telling the 17 pilots over and over again what they needed to pay attention to during the battle. This is your debut, don't disrupt the formation, respond calmly to the situation, and you won't die if you follow that training. With that, the pilot's inattention was relieved a lot. Everyone aboard. Lin Chen waved his hand. The pilots pulled down their goggles, which were like masks, and boarded the plane. The remaining 30 pilots who didn't have Mechas were looking forward to it. Soon, the preparations were completed, and the controller's broadcast sounded. All aircraft, ready to go. Navigator, please leave that flight deck. The passengers clear, please go. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. One after another Mecha flew out of the base, which was comparable to a real science fiction blockbuster. Anyone who saw this scene would be excited, but unfortunately, this scene has become numb to the eyes of the base personnel. 18 Mechas, Tianlong, Panlong, Lilan, Zhenlong, etc. rushed straight to Linjiang City in the south. Lin Chen drove the Mecha sky and looked back. The scene was really spectacular, so he said, "Don't be nervous, just treat it as a normal training." Yes. The pilots replied excitedly and nervously. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The Mecha flew in the air, making a sound of breaking through the air. In every city they passed, people would be attracted by the sound, and then subconsciously looked up, and the next second their mouths had collectively turned into a naught shape. It's a Mecha. Damn, there are so many Mechas. Spectacular, much more handsome than the terrifying killer of the Jianmeng Empire. Then there were waves of enthusiastic cheers. Ah, it blinded my eyes. That's our Mecha unit, so majestic. Damn, seeing so many Mechas, my girlfriend is crying with envy, clamoring and asking me to buy her one. The people below are all crying with excitement. The dream that the 42 generations of ancestors of the Empire have been striving to rise has finally come true. The Empire has risen. In the future, we will ask if the monsters are afraid. Then one message after another began to spread. The Empire's Mecha unit was dispatched, a total of 18. The first reaction of the people was that it was fake. After all, there were only 3 Mechas a while ago, and 15 of them suddenly appeared in just 1 month. This is incredible. However, as photos and videos came out, the people of the Empire finally believed it. Some people ran outside anxiously to look up at the sky, and some people went home to light up the flag of the Empire. In the sky, after a long journey, the Mecha unit consisting of 18 Mechas, Lin Chen's Mecha unit took 2.5 hours to arrive at Linjiang City. "Professor Lin, we seem to be here." Yi Chuan shouted excitedly in the second row. "Can you shut up? You've been talking non-stop all the way." Lin Chen turned his head and scolded him. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The Mecha entered the sky above Linjiang City. The residents had already been arranged to the safe zone in advance. The troops responsible for maintaining order in the safe zone were excited and wanted to fire guns to express their inner admiration for the Mechas. But after thinking about it, it seemed inappropriate to fire guns. It would be embarrassing if the Mechas were shot down again. Forget it, just salute. Papa. The troops saluted the Mechas that entered the sky above Lin Chen City. Soon, the Mecha unit crossed Lin Chen City and arrived at the coastline. The speed of the 18 Mechas began to slow down. Lin Chen ordered, "All machines, humanoid combat form. Collective transformation." In the sky, 18 humanoid Mechas appeared, holding special rifles, full of industrial beauty. Their bodies were heroic and majestic, facing the calm sea. Just one look made people feel that this was a force that should not be underestimated. Invisible forces began to appear, and the whole world was silent at this scene. Please vote. Brothers and sisters, the author needs your votes. Tiger needs light to fight monsters, and the author's Mecha needs recommendation votes to fight monsters. Fly up, my recommendation vote. Chapter 74. Pilot's debut. You can imagine what a spectacular scene it would be when a group of 3-story steel giants stopped in the sky. Audiences around the world were originally ridiculing the rare Mechas of the Wangxian Empire. Now that there are as many as 18 of them at once, it is like a slap in the face. Audiences around the world feel a burning pain on their faces. After being shocked, audiences around the world once again heatedly discussed. Fuck, the Wangxian Empire is really well protected. I also think they are not easy to fight. Even if they have Mechas, their pilot must have rushed into battle with such advanced Mechas. Maybe the most dazzling Mecha will be left once the war starts. That's right. I think the Mecha is a good Mecha after years of analysis, but the pilot may not be. Audiences around the world have reasons and evidence, and they all think that the Mecha pilots are not good. After all, the Mechas of the Wangxian Empire were just made not long ago, and the pilots did not have much time to train. The people of the Wangxian Empire were all cheering happily. The Mechas were dazzling, they were the real ultimate weapons of the Empire. It was such a surprise to see 18 of them at once. It was estimated that in a short time, this number would increase by more than 10 times. These Mechas are the crystallization of the Empire's technology. The one in the Jinlong must be Professor Lin. He is a wonder and legend in the scientific community. It is recommended that the Empire select a group of high-quality beauties to mate and reproduce with Professor Lin, so that the next generation will have countless more outstanding talents. I really envy Lin Chen. The people were proud and enthusiastic about the Mechas of the Empire in the sky. These were the real Mechas, the real ultimate weapons. The Mechas of the Jianmeng Empire were terrifying killers, just like the big spiders. What kind of Mechas were they? They were ugly, and all their advantages were probably just the names that were fierce. But the Mechas of the Empire were different. Didn't they find them cruel? At the moment, let alone 4 monsters, even if 40,000 monsters appeared, Professor Lin's one man and one machine could turn countless monsters upside down. At this time, there was something strange on the sea level. The monsters are here. All machines, get ready. Lin Chen said. All weapons were aimed at the gradually rising monster. The tactic was still to break the monster's energy shield, and then get close to the big guy and shoot a powerful freezing bomb. The atmosphere was tense for a while. Nearly 3 billion viewers around the world were watching this battle. The monster gradually surfaced. It really is a 4-headed monster. Audiences around the world held their breath at this moment. In the sky, all the weapons of the Mechas were aimed at the monster. Fire! Lin Chen said calmly. Bang bang bang, dense ammunition formed a barrage and poured towards the monster, and the energy shields were shattered one by one, and could not be condensed again in a short time. For the pilots, this scene was not the first time they encountered it. They trained in the driving simulator every day, so they had a high level of tacit understanding, and they would even assign their own tasks without Lin Chen's command. The monster was angry. Yin. The frequent roars caused waves of sound that swept in all directions. They flew up. Undoubtedly, the flying large monsters are the most terrifying. Their combat power has soared directly, and the Mechas of Lin Chen and others will be greatly reduced. Each machine will fight on its own. At this time, Lin Chen could not take care of them. After giving the order, he went straight to a large monster. Yes. Once the battle begins, it is a showdown between the strong. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. For a moment, the battle in the sky officially started. The Mechas kept changing their forms, fighting with the monsters, and firing ammunition at the monsters' energy shields while maintaining their mobility. The 2 mechanical wings of a 4-winged lizard beast began to fold, and blue energy substances were gathering. The monster has a firing reaction. Everyone retreat. Yi Chuan, the son of the pig farm, has calmed down. Everything is similar to the previous training. If you follow that previous training, you will not die. The 5 Mechas quickly turned on the power to the maximum to dodge. dense feathers of light attacked. Yi Chuan first used a rifle to sweep a large area, and then transformed into a fighter to quickly evacuate the battlefield and distance himself. Bang, bang, bang! Yi Chuan smashed all the light feathers, and a series of explosions sounded. At this time, the monster's energy shield had been destroyed by his teammates. Swoosh! A mecha appeared, and its super strong mobility was almost dazzling. This mecha was the Fierce Dragon. The driver inside, the big-breasted girl Elsa, had a surprisingly calm look, and was calculating the distance to the approaching four-winged lizard beast. At the moment when she was about to collide with the four-winged lizard beast, she turned the power to the maximum. Now. Transform. In human form, holding a war sword, he stacked it into the monster's head with force, and drew the sword in a very short time, and shot a freezing bullet into the wound. Elsa said coldly, "Please accept my first time." The freezing bullet began to exert its power in the body of the four-winged lizard beast, and its movements became stiff. Then, it slammed into the beach on the ground. Perfectly killed a monster four-winged lizard beast. Suddenly, the whole empire fell into a passionate cheer. Look, the skilled pilots killed a monster at the beginning, and those foreigners had no idea about the power of Mechas. Even the audience around the world was silent. How is this possible? Shouldn't these pilots have rushed into the battle without any training? But how come they all performed so skillfully? It's too hard to accept. Oh, fuck. Pussy saw this scene and showed a strong disgust, almost gritting his teeth. The Wang's Empire actually has 18 Mechas. Although their pilots can skillfully drive Mechas to fight monsters, which is a good thing, he is not happy at all. Today should have been the day for the Horror-Killers to shine, tearing monsters into pieces, but it turned out to be a show of the Wang's Empire's Mechas. So angry. But the battle continued. Only one monster, the four-winged lizard beast, died. In addition to the one that Lin Chen pulled alone, there were two others. And the battle situation is not optimistic. Among the pilots, except for Lin Chen, Yi Chuan and Dai had the best driving skills. With several teammates missing at once, the other 12 pilots were almost exhausted. Banger Mecha Yalong was unable to dodge, and its right-wing thruster was destroyed on the spot, so it had to withdraw from the battlefield. Not good. The others were anxious, but also relieved. Although one teammate was missing, with the addition of Yi Chuan and others, the battle situation was instantly reversed. From being chased and beaten by the four-winged lizard beast, it became a fight with the four-winged lizard beast. Not long after a burst of intensive artillery fire, the energy shield of the four-winged lizard beast was completely shattered. Yi Chuan turned the power to the maximum and rushed towards the furious four-winged lizard beast with an indomitable momentum. Yi Chuan shouted, "From now on, I'm the protagonist to this world." In a very short time, a freezing bullet hit the body of the four-winged lizard beast from the wound. This battle was surprisingly smooth, and there was almost no suspense at this point. It took another 5 minutes to completely deal with the third four-winged lizard beast. Many drivers breathed a sigh of relief, and when they turned around to see the situation on Lin Chen's side, they were all shocked. My god, what a fast speed! Many people asked me why there was no update, but it was shown as an update. In this case, the blocked chapters were unblocked. 3 chapters were unblocked today, and 1 picture was updated, so it was shown as 4 chapters updated. It's that simple. Chapter 75. Give us those Mechas, we will definitely do better. At the intersection of the sites, the huge four-winged lizard beast, as big as a mountain, frequently attacked the Tianlong, either spewing out a dark blue energy storm with arcs from its mouth, or emitting bursts of light feathers from its mechanical wings. But it never hit the Tianlong from beginning to end. The Tianlong, controlled by Lin Chen, dodged the attack very quickly, and even during the high-speed dodging, it continued to attack the energy shield of the four-winged lizard beast. Bang, bang, bang! The 2 circular energy shields on the chest of the four-winged lizard beast were shattered. Yin. The four-winged lizard beast was furious. The mechanical wings folded again, the blue energy material gathered, and another wave of light feathers was emitted. Swoosh! Lin Chen flew away in the Tianlong, opened up a distance and fired a few shots, and then the sword chopped the remaining light feathers into pieces. All the series of operations were done in one go, so skillful that people could not find any remarkable places. It was like he was not fighting at all, but showing off and performing. Many drivers were shocked. What kind of hand speed is needed to have such superb driving skills? Aya's eyes were filled with horror. She swallowed her saliva and exclaimed in amazement, "So awesome!" The battle was so fierce that it was dazzling. Audiences around the world held their breath, and their bodies and minds were completely immersed in it. Unconsciously, they had already put themselves into the Tianlong. Every attack of the monster would make people feel heartbroken. But fortunately, the monster's energy shield was completely shattered, and Lin Chen could attack at close range. Full power. Tianlong held the sword in both hands and stabbed it into the head of the four-winged lizard beast. Swish. Yin. The monster let out a miserable roar. It is almost invincible in physical defensor, but once the defensor is broken, the internal defensor is almost zero. Tianlong drew out the sword, and a large amount of red gushed out, dyeing the white fuselage of Tianlong red. At this time, the four-winged lizard's 8 scarlet eyes, which were as big as millstones, looked at Tianlong with hatred. Die. Lin Chen's expression was surprisingly calm, and he did not feel any uneasiness because of the hatred in the 8 scarlet eyes. Or he killed so many monsters that he himself has become a monster. Tianlong's right hand suddenly unfolded. The indicator showed freezing bomb loaded. A freezing bomb hit the body of the four-winged lizard beast deeply. Then, Lin Chen watched the four-winged lizard beast's body become stiff and hit the ground, and its huge body quickly condensed into ice crystals. The 4 two-winged lizard beasts were completely destroyed. 18 Mechas, only one was moderately damaged. This can be regarded as a complete victory, with 0 casualties. Compared with the Mecha horror killers of the Jianmeng Empire, the Mecha of the Wangzi Empire, the Dragon series has demonstrated what a real mecha is with practical actions. At this moment, the seaside of Linjiang City is truly calm. When the danger is no longer there, all the severe atmosphere disappears without a trace, and even groups of white seagulls appear in the distant sky. But compared with the quiet atmosphere here, the empire is filled with carnival everywhere at this time. Oh, so cool. Please give me Professor Lin's contact information. I must use the most awesome posture to make him fall in love with me. Professor Lin, I don't ask for anything. I want to marry the pilot of the fierce dragon. A complete victory, a real complete victory. I never dreamed that 18 Mechas would come out at once. Fuck, I'm so confused. Are our pilots so awesome? How were they trained? The people's sense of pride was unprecedented. Nowadays, monsters appear frequently. Except for the Jianmeng Empire, which can still make a small fuss, almost the whole world has no way to deal with monsters. But only the Wangzi Empire can make monsters come and go. At the same time, nearly 3 billion viewers around the world were still in an extremely exaggerated state of astonishment. They felt incredible that the Mechas and pilots of the Wangzi Empire destroyed all the monsters. If it is said that 18 Mechas were taken out at once, this may be far-fetched. Some excuses can be found, but why do their pilots have such excellent driving experience? They must be fake. How can such a small mecha easily beat the monster? It's too unbelievable, but I think if monsters appear frequently in the future, the Wangzi Empire is the safest. The audience talked about it and expressed all kinds of doubts and questions. Jianmeng Empire. Many proud Jianmeng people were silent. The pride was aroused yesterday, but since the Mecha horror killer was slaughtered, the so-called pride is almost gone. Now there are 3 monsters still destroying the city, which is equivalent to humiliating the last bit of pride. The Mecha of the Wangzi Empire is so strong, and our Mecha horror killer. Many Jianmeng people who were once extremely conceited held their head in their hands and didn't want to admit the facts. The Mecha horror killer was originally blown up to be invincible, but it didn't last more than half an hour before it was all scrapped. As a result, with the same number of monsters, the Mecha of the Wangzi Empire only damaged 1 and wiped out all the monsters. How can this be compared? Them Mechas seem to be a little bit stronger than ours. In fact, they just rely on their good Mechas. If those Mechas were given to the Jianmeng Empire, we would definitely do better than them. That's right, the brave Jianmeng people are not afraid of anything. The people started to discuss, and they forgot about the fact that the monsters were still wreaking havoc in Tulai City. They began to pick on them. After a while, there were countless things worth mentioning. For example, the Mechas of the Wangzi Empire were too small and their names were not fierce at all. Another example was that the pilots of the Wangzi Empire were all cowards. As long as they were attacked by monsters, they would hide far away before giving up. At this time, Pussy had the same mentality as the people. After a while of criticizing, he said in annoyance, "Oh, fuck. Why aren't these Mechas from the Jianmeng Empire?" Seeing that the battle of the Wangzi Empire was over, Pussy's face suddenly became ugly. Before, the Wangzi Empire rejected the request for assistance on the grounds that there were monsters in their own country. Now that their monsters have been eliminated, should the Minister of the Interior go to the Wang's Empire to ask for help again? Yes, let him go. Anyway, I won't go. It's too embarrassing. Not long after, the command office sent the document of the mobilization of the army. Pussy saw it and immediately exclaimed, "Oh, fuck, the command office plans to use the army to eliminate the monsters. After the monsters are eliminated, at least 10 of our cities will be reduced to ruins." With this, he was more determined to ask for the assistance of the Wangxian Empire. Maybe he could use this opportunity to achieve some unspeakable secrets. Here. The Wangxian Empire already has a special department responsible for cleaning up the battlefield. In fact, the so-called battlefield is nothing more than pulling the corpse of the four-winged lizard beast back for research. After all, in addition to the base, the Empire also has many academies of science and research institutes, and even some universities of science and technology are more interested in the corpses of monsters. In the sky, several huge transport planes carried Lin Chen and others and all them chased back to the base. After returning to the base, Lin Chen just sat down when he received a message from Chief Yang Ming. It was more like a request for advice than a message. Seeing the doubts raised by some readers, the author explains here how the mecha destroys the monsters. The victory or defeat is not determined by the size of the body, but by breaking the energy shield, making a hole in the monster, and injecting a freezing bullet. In addition, the author does not know much about the military, so please forgive me if there are any mistakes. Anyway, I just want you to enjoy it. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone, see you in the next video.